So, what's happening, everybody? Good morning. Welcome in. The seventh Monday in a row, we get to come in here and talk about another San Diego Padres loss. That's 7 straight. Those Cats have not won on a Sunday, but we got a lot of other stuff to talk about as well. Good morning. Great to be back with you guys. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fans. Get our heads right on a Monday. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
And Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning, and welcome to Ben and Wood's summer break.
Summer break is here.
It is here.
It doesn't.
You're just back from your
break.
Your break and vacation.
Yeah. What a vacation it was, indeed. I'm very well rested. Very well rested.
Interesting.
I've learned.
I wasn't sure.
I've learned something about myself. Happy to share. When I'm devoid of responsibility, like, family responsibilities.
Taking care of the kids, chores.
I don't really like to do much at all. And the things that I plan usually end up falling by the wayside. They really do. Paulie knows this. I mean, how many, and you know this as well, Benny, when we go to spring or to spring training or fantasy camp, I just lock myself in my room and sleep. When I have the opportunity to rest, I take it. And I take it
It's true.
hard. And that's kind of what I did. And I screwed the whole thing up. I really did. I did exactly what I thought I was going to do on my vacation. My buddy flew in from Texas, and we hit it pretty hard on Thursday night. Pretty hard. Went to see the Afghan Wigs at Observatory. And had a time of our lives. Ran into some tier ones out there. It was great. Had a ball. Band sounded great. Talked to my buddy, the guitar player. Got a horns from the stage, which was pretty cool. One of the cooler moments I've had. Got to chat with him after, from what I remember, and we just blew it out. Had a great time. Well, then we woke up way late on Friday, and I mean, like, we laid around. We were wounded. I mean, we were straight up wounded.
Now, way late for you is like 8 a.m.
No, this was like 11, and then like laid around. And
practically Saturday.
Then
And
laid
you were
around.
supposed to go up to L.A.
Yep.
on Friday.
Correct. Yeah. And well, we ended up doing that, but we didn't leave San Diego till like 2 o'clock. We were wounded. He was vomiting. Like, it was, we hit it hard. And as I knew I would. It's been so long.
Where'd you hit in North Park?
We just hung out at the venue,
Just
the
at the venue,
observatory.
okay.
Yeah. And I checked my Uber. We made it back to the place where we were staying at like 10:45. Kept drinking a little bit. It was bad. When Dad gets a night out, Dad has a hard time, leveling it out. So he blew it out. So we get in the car to drive to LA. It was a 4-hour drive. 4.
You woke up at 11, so what time did you...
2
On a Friday.
on a Friday. It was the dumbest thing we could have done.
Afternoon, Friday, traffic.
It was the worst.
405 up to Los Angeles.
It was-
405.
Yep, it was the worst experience of my life. That drive was the worst. It was the worst day of my life.
Hungover
Just
in
dying.
traffic
Yeah,
in Los Angeles.
We did not speak. Except I would hear like a from the other seat. So we get up there. He looked at me and he goes, we would have to shower and get back in the car to go to Anaheim.
Turn right around to go back to the
Is that
second
when you
Afghan
getting in
Wig
at like
show.
6:30?
Yeah. And he goes, I go, dude, I'm cool if you're cool. He goes, I'm cool. We ordered pizza. We ate pizza. We went to sleep. We woke up the next day. Still not feeling great at all. Like, just still.
Man.
This place had a pool. We laid by the pool. We had a great time. About 5 o'clock hits. I was like, you want to start like thinking about getting ready? I go, let me pull up the venue on my phone. It was 52 minutes from our house in LA. It was 7 miles, 52 minutes.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Third show.
Yeah.
Didn't make it.
Yeah.
1 for 3.
1 for 3. Hey, get you in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Now, I've realized something. I realized something else about myself. I'm fine footing the bill because I don't have to fall in line for anybody. And I realize, like, people are like, Woodsy, you're pretty generous. I'm like, actually, I'm selfish. I do it so that I don't have to answer to anyone. So I ended up selling the tickets on Saturday online. Thank God, got some of my money back. But yeah, man, we chilled and relaxed. And then I was planning on waking up, taking to the
Did
airport.
you go anywhere on Saturday?
Yeah, we went to the pool. Just hung
It's
out.
not go-
we
you-
went to breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
You went
Went to
somewhere.
yeah, we went to breakfast.
You left at one point
Bro,
for
I'm
the
telling
entire
you.
weekend.
I'm telling you. Yeah. I drove up to LA to nap. Is what I did.
What'd you like, DoorDash for dinner?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yes. So I will tell you this. It was the most comfortable house I've ever stayed in. It was the most comfortable bed that I've ever slept in my entire life. But yeah, I drove up to LA to nap, basically, for 2 days. But I had a great time. It was,
You're right. There's nothing wrong with doing that for a weekend. Great place to stay.
Right.
Pool,
Hot
relaxed,
tub.
comfortable.
Yeah.
If you just hadn't had all those other plans, it would have felt perfect.
And you know what? It still felt perfect. Now, I woke up yesterday morning, and the guy that was going to drive Bo to his baseball game at noon, his kid was sick. And I called home at like 7 in the morning, and Hannah's like, Bo's crying. He doesn't get to play. I go, say no more. So I took care of an Uber for my buddy, got him dialed in at like 11 because I was going to have to wait around and take him to the airport. Got him dialed with an Uber, and I said, I'm on my way home. I made it home in 1 hour and 20 minutes. 1 hour and 20 minutes. And took Bo to his game, had a great day. It was
It's a third the amount of time it took you to get there.
Bro, it was incredible. But while I was there, man, like, I woke up to a nap. I woke up from a nap, one of my many, many naps, and saw the news that had happened over the weekend, and my mind was just blown. I just couldn't believe what I had seen. And of course, you guys know I'm talking about the assassination attempt that went down on Saturday, and I couldn't wrap my head around it. I really couldn't, because I started thinking, well, when was the last time we've seen this? Now, Ben and I were same age, same grade and everything, and it was when President Reagan, when they tried to shoot him. I remember that a little bit from when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen anything like this. And, of course, obviously it turns the heat up. It turns the heat up in our country, which is probably the last thing that our country needed right now. Listen, nobody comes here to get political talk, so we're not going to be political. But it was a jarring scene.
You can't not even acknowledge.
Oh
what
yeah,
happened,
no,
because
it was shocking.
until I saw somebody say something along the same lines, like, "Oh, first assassination attempt since 1981 or whatever it was." I go, "Huh." Yeah, it felt like that was the first one I've ever experienced in my 33 years of life, but to let it like really sink in, you're like, wow, that was history.
It was jarring. Yeah, very, very jarring type situation. And then, I mean, it was that, and it was all these people dying over the weekend too, of like celebrities and stuff. I mean, it was a real jarring thing. But I get the thing. It's called. Have you guys heard of this before? It's called hangxiety.
Hangxiety.
No one gets it worse than me. I'm already an anxious person to where I worry a lot about things that are that I can't control. I just do that, and I plan things out in my head. It's a bad way to live. But when you have a few cocktails and you wake up hungover, which I did, admittedly, like I way overserved myself on Thursday night. I don't like to do that anymore. The hangxiety is the worst thing ever for me, and everything is just times 10. You don't get that because you don't really drink a lot.
No,
I don't
but
drink a lot. You know that. I never drink.
I know when you're hungover, you have a tendency to feel a little more like raw. Everything feels like nails on a chalkboard.
Yep.
So I can imagine that anxiety would be the same.
Carlos is laughing at me. 2-day recovery. Bro, I mean, it's been like 4, so it's more like a 4-day recovery. But yeah, it was, I had, at the end of the day, I had a great time. And but nothing I ever planned goes to plan. Like I said, I have it in my head how I want it to go, and it's never even close. So I'm going to stop worrying about it. It's one of the things I'm working on, personally. Is that I can't control these things. I just need to just let the game come to me a little bit. But how was your guys' this weekend?
I was working all weekend, like usual, filling in at Channel 10 on Saturday, which did allow me to see the coverage apparatus jump into full. I was
You're
like,
at the news.
I was pulling into the parking lot
of the news
when the news broke. And, of course, everyone jumps to it. People are showing up that aren't there on the weekend. Kimberly Hunt comes in. We have Jim Avila, who used to cover the White House, is one of our reporters. Now, he was co-anchoring that day, and network coverage, jumping to that as well. So do get to see things get very busy around a television station when there's major breaking news.
Pretty wild.
I saw the Padres were playing on Fox nationally.
Yeah.
against Atlanta on Saturday afternoon. 4:15, I think, was the
Correct.
first pitch. So, what, an hour after all
Yeah,
of this?
most networks were in full coverage, but they
And
did stick with the game.
there was
at least
another
here.
national game on Fox as well. I don't remember who it was. Maybe the Giants were playing. But they, like some markets, you lost the baseball game.
No
Fox
kidding.
cut from
They
the
cut
middle
it?
of the baseball game because it's not in the market that they're being played, and they went straight to news coverage.
Yeah, and I was, I didn't watch the game on Thursday night at all, and then watched a little bit of Friday.
There was no game on Thursday.
I'm sorry, the game on Friday night. I did not watch that at all. I was asleep by like 7. So, and then Saturday, I watched a little bit of that game yesterday when I got home, and of course, watched the entire game yesterday. And obviously didn't miss much. In Padres land, and we'll talk about those games this weekend. And it is our summer break. We're going to be a little bit more loose as the week goes on. But I will say this, man. Just try to be nice to each other. It's just such a volatile time. I'm just going to try to be nicer to everyone except for Ben. But I mean, I'm just I'm still going to pick on Ben. But I do think we should, really work on being kinder to each other and listening maybe to each other's perspectives.
It's always a noble goal.
It's a noble goal. We rarely get there. We rarely do. I think, whoever you like and whoever you root for and whatever side you're on, it really doesn't matter to me. I just want to try to be a good person. And, for me, I was just talking to the guys down the hall about it, and it's kind of a weird responsibility when you have this microphone, this platform. But, for me, I just want to try to keep my side of the street as clean as possible, and that's my house, my family, my neighborhood, and I don't want to get into any beefs with anybody about dumb stuff, and so try to be nice to each other as we go, try to be respectful of each other. And that's really all you can ask.
All right, let's leave it there, and then we'll come back. We will set the menu, which will look somewhat the same on a Monday, even though it's summer break, since we do have a weekend of games to talk about. But also going to try to have some extra fun this week as we hit the middle of the summer and the All-Star break. So we'll come back, do that, check traffic here first with Kelly Danick, and it's good to have everybody back here together in studio on a Monday with Ben and Woods right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Do you guys get the sense that as the week goes on, it'll get more summery, more summer breaky?
Yeah, I
on
think
Ben
so.
and Woods?
I hope so.
I was thinking that driving in this morning. It'll get because we got games to talk about. We have the team to talk about. We have the draft and everything else. But as the week continues, we'll get to a little more summer breaky each day.
I had a request, but this would require more work for Ben.
Thanks.
I had a request from a couple of guys on the Tier 1 baseball team yesterday, 2-0 by the way. Nice 16-5 victory. Can we do the Tier 1 wrap up on Mondays since we win on Sundays?
Yeah, we always.
But we need
win
the
on
highlights
Sundays.
to play for a Tier 1 wrap up. So I need Ben to come out and do play-by-play
Oh
for
my
all
God!
of our
Don't
games.
make him do on a Sunday. Drag his ass out to Mission Hills High School or something. and Tyler Phillips with another double off the wall. Like, no, you don't have
Smash
See,
to.
Sunday's
those up.
already a work day for me.
Correct.
And yesterday I did actually get out early, and I do want to thank the Emo Brown podcast, Caesar and Steve, for inviting me down to the new Epic Tasting Room right next to Petco Park.
Yep.
Was that stone one right next to the park at the park, Gallagher Square. You can see the Little League T-ball field right from the patio there, and got to spend some time with those guys and talking about our show and talking about the Padres a little bit and rehashing the time I nearly got run over on live television. Everyone always loves that story.
They do a fun podcast. I've done it a couple times. It's wheels off in there. Now, they get me to tell stories that I'm like, God, driving home going, did I really tell that story? They get me every time. They're really good.
They're very loose.
They're very loose.
Very loose.
Yeah,
in a good
man.
way, though.
Yeah.
In a good way. And,
Yeah.
they had all done a mass bike ride from the South Bay to Petco Park.
Bro,
and then
they put their money where their mouth is, man. They do a lot for their community. I really, really appreciate all the work that they do, and they're just great people.
now
too.
they wanted all of us to come in, but you were on your vacation.
Well, I was
coming back
I
from
was
LA.
coming home and doing
and
baseball
Paulie
stuff.
had his Tier 1 game that he was in charge of managing.
He managed our game yesterday.
But I did commit at some point with all three of us are going to go and
Okay.
do it together with
Done.
them.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Absolutely.
But that was fun, and it was enjoyable. Now, what does summer break mean for the Ben and Woods program? We don't entirely know.
Right.
We're kind of winging it as we go this week. What it does mean is we give our weekly guests a week off. So, like today, usually you hear from Sam Levitt. No, we're letting Sammy have the day off, the All-Star break, to recharge his batteries, refresh. The same will happen with Jesse tomorrow, Adam Jones, Brett Boone on Wednesday, Eno Saris on Thursday. Everybody gets a little break at the All-Star break.
Posted on Instagram yesterday. I said, let's get ready for a week of no baseball.
Yep.
Pretty much no direction.
Yep.
And maybe a little bit of debauchery. Who knows?
Yeah. 100%.
Yes, and we will figure that out kind of as we go. Today, though, as you mentioned, we will go through the weekend of games, Padres and Braves wrapping up the first half of the season, and just some initial thoughts before we jump into the games. It was not a good homestand, obviously, for the Padres.
Nope.
2-6. They fell out of one of the 3 wild card spots. They now go into the All-Star break, 1 game behind the New York Mets, and in a virtual tie with the Arizona Diamondbacks, both at 1 game above 500, game and a half behind the Cardinals. However, I will, as always, try to be the voice of calm and reason here as we hit the All-Star break with, 63 games left in the season. And I don't think anything fundamentally changed over this last week. It was always true that in the second half of the season, to make the playoffs, the Padres were going to have to play well. And if they didn't play well, they weren't going to make the playoffs. Had the Padres gone 4-4 on their homestand, 5-3, whatever, that still would have been true going into the second half. You're not gonna make the playoffs playing poorly over these last 2+ months, but you will if you play well. They're certainly close enough. They're a game back. They're above 500. That if they have a solid finish to the season, there's a path to the playoffs remaining for the San Diego Padres. They're not so far buried like they were last year that they have to play out of their minds to catch up with anybody. But they were never getting to the point where, hey, we're so far ahead we can withstand a bad second half and still back our way into the postseason. That wasn't happening either. It still isn't. So bad homestand, 2-6 for the San Diego Padres, but the season in my mind fundamentally remains the same. Whether you you're in by a game or two or out by a game or two. You got to play well over these last couple of months.
Well, what a crap homestand like that does do, and I've already seen, people talking about it. What are we going to do in the next couple of weeks, right? And how important are these games coming out of the break to decide what you're going to be, what you're going to do, what your move is going to do?
Bro, we're one bad road trip away from, I don't want to say becoming sellers,
Correct.
but
That's
certainly not being buyers.
That's what I'm talking about. Is this? Oh boy, what are you going to do? What are you going to be? What's the plan of action? It's weird to go into this if you're AJ Preller. Look, they have plans for plans. They have contingencies for contingencies. Every team does. That's semi in the hunt right now. But man, you got to start looking at, if you come out of the break and you don't play well, you do have to start looking at what can we do to improve this team for next year and the year after that potentially. What pieces do we have? I don't want to do that. I don't want to get there. I'm a guy that's been on the horse of I believe. I've seen enough magic from this team at times to think that they deserve a run. But man, if it's not in the cards, are we going to try to force it again? And that's the scary part for me about where we are as Padre fans.
But we were there a week ago.
We were. We absolutely were.
If you didn't think the Padres were there a week ago before this homestand, you were kind of deluding yourself into thinking that this team was something that it was not. As I said, you're going to have to play well in the second half. That includes the first road trip of the second half, which will be a tough road trip to Cleveland and Washington and Baltimore to start the second half. Yeah, if they go 1-8, they can bury themselves pretty quickly at this point. So, yeah, it remains true. They will have to play well in the second half of the season. But again, don't think that was ever not true. I don't think the Padres were ever at a point, even when they were at 6 games above 500, that they could say, yeah, we can pretty much cruise the rest of the way now. We don't have to play good baseball the last couple of months. We'll be in the playoffs, no problem, and then we'll turn it up in October when we get there. No, that was never even a realistic talking point for the 2024 San Diego Padres.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right, man, but it's just the confluence of events here with a GM that, a lot of people think if he doesn't make the playoffs, he's out of a job. I still don't believe that. I know that he's got years left on his contract. He's got 2 years left after this one. I don't see them getting rid of A.J. Preller if he doesn't make the playoffs. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's my gut feeling. What desperate times call for desperate measures? How desperate are we going to get? And that's what I want to know. And that's none of us really know that yet. So we can talk about that. We can take your calls about that as well. I know that there are people out there going, I haven't seen enough. Let's get rid of the Dylan Ceases of the world. Let's get rid of the Michael Kings, the guys we only have for another year. Let's get rid of Ha-Sung Kim. Let's retool like so many teams do. But man, do we trust that you're going to get, if you did that, if you said, our guys, we're waving the white flag, we surrendered this year, you going to get back enough to make it worthwhile? Is the right guy running that, that plan as well? So it's just, there's a whole lot of, anxiety about it that I have.
Now, we do have one guest coming up later. Interesting character will be joining us at 8:35. Today, of course, is the Home Run Derby in Arlington, Texas, as part of the All-Star festivities. And we're going to be joined by a guy who's been around the Padres organization in the past. Ray Crone is his name.
The GOAT.
And he is known around baseball, and especially here in San Diego, for one unique skill. That makes him a nightmare. No, he is the best batting practice pitcher
ever
that pretty much has ever lived. And he's thrown in the Home Run Derby before to Adrian Gonzalez. He has thrown to Padres batters behind the scenes and early in the day for many years. And they all just swear that this is the best that has ever lived when it comes to batting practice pitching.
A lot of sports shows would get maybe a former participant of the Home Run, which we had. We had
did.
last week.
Brett
Brett
Boone
Boone.
was terrific.
It was great. We can replay that story if you want. Not us. We want the guy that actually has to throw the pitches. I want to know what it's like inside that dome throwing to, who do you throw to? Adrian Gonzalez in the Home Run Derby.
Maybe we can find a kid that played in the outfield for a Home Run Derby. Interview them.
Any of those kids. There's always that one kid that gets smoked.
Somebody just wears
Yeah,
one.
they just wear it.
One quick All-Star note. Luis Ariz did announce yesterday that he will not be playing in the All-Star game tomorrow to get his thumb some more rest. He's been playing with that jammed thumb for about a month now, ever since he slid into third base. So he and Tatis, who isn't even going as he continues to rest his stress reaction, will not play. Padres will still have 3 participants in the game in Jackson Merrill, Robert Suarez, and Jurickson Profar. And I thought this stat was pretty amazing, and I just saw this morning in the UT newsletter. There are also 10 former Padres
I saw that, yeah.
in the game.
Wow.
10.
10.
You want to hear the list? Emmanuel Clase,
Yep.
Max Fried, Trey Turner, Josh Naylor, Andres Munoz, Kirby Yates, Seth Lugo, Juan Soto, C.J. Abrams, Matt Strom.
That is absolutely
10.
staggering.
Out of what?
Staggering.
60-something All-Stars?
Yeah.
So if you include the current Padres, it's like a quarter of All-Stars have passed through during A.J. Preller's tenure here as general manager of the Padres.
Kind of makes my head hurt a little
Is that
bit.
good
to
or
think
bad?
I can't tell
don't
if that's
even
good or
know.
bad. I think if you're AJ, you're like, see? But then if you're a Padres fan, you're like, see? We had all these guys. God, we could put together a hell of an all-star team.
The picture of Jurickson and his son in matching
priceless.
clothes yesterday. Getting ready
Heading
head
off
onto
to
the
Arlington?
bus.
Yeah.
I imagine they take the team jet. All the All-Stars do to Dallas.
Well, unless you're Mason Miller, and then you have to fly on the Phillies jet because, well, you pitch for the A's.
Right.
They wanted to put you on an Amtrak, and you didn't want to do that.
Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll have our, 6th, 7th straight losing Monday Padres wrap-up. 7 Mondays in a row where we haven't gotten to talk about a victory. I had a scary thought, and I'll share it with you when we come back with our Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Summer break on 97.3 The Fan. Hour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. From a healthier weight to more energy, when you switch your dog's food to the Farmer's Dog, the effects can feel magical. What sorcery is this? None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/radio. So here's the scary thought I had as we head into our Padres wrap-up. It's a shame if they lose. Did you guys know
it's a shame if they lose
that the last time that we had a winning Padres wrap-up, because we were off, remember, July 4th and 5th, didn't have one last week because they did not have a win on a Sunday through Thursday during the homestand, because those are the days we would play the following morning a winning Padres wrap-up. So the last time we played a winning Padres wrap-up was after the Wednesday, June 26th win over the Washington Nationals. So Thursday, June 27th was our last winning Padres wrap-up. Now we won't have another one for at least another week. And that's only if they win next Sunday in Cleveland, which they never do.
That's a Sunday.
So at the very least, we're going to go 24 days or more between winning Padres wrap-ups on the Ben and Woods program in the morning.
It's actually staggering. and to be covering a team that's technically
over
still
500.
in it. Yeah, they're still in
They're
it.
over 500, and we're going to go 24 days without talking about a win on this show.
If we're White Sox radio, okay, I get it, right? Marlins radio, I get it. This is not normal, guys. This is not normal. Oh, my Lord. Well, take it away.
So here comes another losing Padres wrap-up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Grilling Store at Hillcrest Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest. Got a few things going on here, guys. One of them is this stalled car that's been moved over the right shoulder of the East Street on-ramp to southbound 5. Heading into the North County, northbound 15 past Near Mesa Boulevard. Stalled car between the HOV and Fast Lane. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows some debris in the two right lanes on South 15 right before the 78. The Grilling Store, Ace Hardware on University Avenue in Hillcrest, where you'll find all the best brands for outdoor cooking, plus a knowledgeable staff. The Grilling Store at Hillcrest, Ace Hardware, where service still matters. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
First pitch, swinging, and a liner into center field. Kelnick charging, has to play it on a hop. Solano waited to see, but he'll come in and score without a play. An RBI single for Bogarts, 3 straight Padre hits, and a 1-0 lead in the first. First pitch swinging, ground ball base hit into left for Olsen. Albies rounding third, he's going to score. Matt Olsen with his first hit of the series, an RBI single here in the 4th inning, and we got ourselves a 1-1 game. 1-0, Duvall lines it into left field, that's a base hit. That'll give the Braves the lead as Garneau trots home. So the Bravos manufacture a run here in the 5th. They lead for the first time since Friday night. It's 2-1. Garneau swings, sends it in the air to left center field. Merrill's back. He's still going back at the wall. This one gonna go into the bullpen. A 3-run homer for Travis d'Arnaud, and all of a sudden the Brave lead is 5-1. Him at second, 2 down, 3-2. Here's the pitch. Campusano swings, hits it in the air to deep right. Duvall is back at the track, looks up, gonna go! 2-run pinch hit homer for Luis Campusano. Don't go anywhere. This is a 5-3 game in the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the 2-1 to d'Arnaud. Swung on, hit in the air to deep center field. Merrill's back to watch. This one gonna go. Second of the day for d'Arnaud. And for the second time, he puts it into the bullpen. 6-3 Atlanta here in the 8th inning. 3-2, swung on, lined into right field, charged by Duvall on the run. He gets there to make the catch, and the ball game is over. Iglesias, a 1-2-3 bottom of the 9th. The Braves come to town, take 2 out of 3, and the Padres will go into the break one game above 500 at 50-49.
I mean, we took good at bats today, whole 9 innings. Like you said, good at bats early on. You know, Solano gets it started. Manny, great approach, drives it. Solano gets it third. Bogey gets him in. You know, we got something going. And you know, Kimmy has a really good at bat. Squares one up. Raleigh, really good player. Makes diving play to his left. Takes 2 runs off the board. But it was, you know, nip and tuck. And again, like 8th inning, great at bats too. You know, good pitcher in Jimenez. And put 3 good swings on him. All found the warning track, but not enough distance to make a difference.
You know, that really was probably the key at-bat of the game against Chris Sale, who is the most vulnerable in the first inning. Been fantastic this year. 13 wins, has had a bounce-back season.
All-star, the whole bit.
All-star. Yep. And this was always going to be a tough matchup against a lefty. He'd already dominated the Padres earlier this year. So you knew it was going to be a tough one. But the inning you can get Chris Sale is the first, and the Padres did. You heard it, 3 straight hits. And they had runners at second and third with 2 outs when Ha-Sung Kim looks like he has an absolute liner base hit between third and short that's going to score 2 runs. And Austin Riley comes up with a play that we see sometimes here in San Diego with Manny Machado, but a Gold Glove, hang a star, saves 2 runs, and maybe the game at that point, because you get up 3-0. It's a completely different ball game. At that point, and Randy Vasquez wasn't bad.
No,
you know,
man,
5
he's been
5
good.
innings, 2 runs. You can't complain too much. How the runs scored bothered me a little bit in that both times he completely lost track of a runner at first.
Yeah, terrible.
A first pitch steal, and then the second time even worse, forgetting the guy was there entirely and pitched out of the windup, allowing d'Arnaud, who's not a fast runner, to steal second and get into scoring position.
Scores.
That can't happen, but, you know, other than that, Randy Vasquez was actually just what you'd hope he would be with his 5 innings, 2 runs, but because, you know, Sale then settled in and did what Sale does, Padres were playing from behind the whole game, and, you know, the bullpen, once again, that unpredictable, you know, Kolek, who hadn't given up a run since June, gives up the 3-run home run to d'Arnaud. It's everyone's a ticking time bomb down there right now, and it is a real problem for the Padres.
Yeah, we reached the point of the discourse yesterday was, why is he taking Randy Vasquez out? I mean, and he was throwing well.
But you felt good about Kolek.
You
He
felt
pitched so
good.
well.
Dude, I know. It's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things. I did not think we would get to the point of the season where it's let Vasquez go another inning, you know, and he had pitched really well, Ben. He's been better than we kind of expected as of late. So, yeah, just a bummer of a loss, and yeah, they got really close. They got really, really close at the end, guys. Like he said, he recaps it for us real well. They squared some balls up, just did not get out of the yard, and sucks, man. Dropping 2 or 3 to that team when you needed to win that series. It's a bummer. Look, I'm glad they have a rest. They earned a rest. They've played hard. They really have played hard this year. They have earned every second of this rest, and I hope they recharge and come out ready to roll for the second half. But yeah, the offense is scuffling. I mean, it's Chris Sale. Chris Sale's a nasty pitcher, and you had him on the ropes. You tip your hat to a great play by Austin Riley, but you got to figure out a way to win 2 of those 3 games.
And you got him out after 5 innings. You know, you got the home run by Campusano against the bullpen, and it's good to see. They're going to need Campy to get going a little bit. You know, Kyle Higashioka is not going to remain on insane heater.
No, he didn't have a good series
for the rest of the year, so they're going to need Campy to get going. So that was a good sign. Xander Bogaerts came back and played 2 of the 3 games and looked like decent, like swing, like he's going to come back and hopefully be productive. That was a positive.
500 in the series.
And you had to really enjoy the story of Sean Reynolds making his major league debut with a scoreless inning, 3 strikeouts yesterday. They talked to his family during the broadcast. A converted position player who just couldn't hit in the minor leagues, and they turned him into a pitcher in the Miami Marlins organization. Padres kind of had him as a throw-in in the Ryan Weathers-Garrett Cooper trade from last year. Stashed him in the minors, had struggled mostly at AAA, but got hot lately. Obviously has an opportunity with the Padres bullpen in somewhat the shambles that it's been, and comes up and gets the job done. Obviously not a high-leverage situation, but a confidence builder for Sean Reynolds, and showed, like most of those guys that come up, some nasty stuff that he certainly has. Fastball, slider, got some swings and misses from some good hitters in that Braves lineup.
We got him in which trade?
I think it was the Ryan Weathers for Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds trade.
Okay, so I remember when it happened, I texted Skip Schumacher, and I asked Skip about Sean and what he was like. He's like, you guys will love him. I mean, he throws hard as hell. Like, he just gasses it up there. He's huge. And then when he got into the Padres system, I remember following him for a while, and it was erratic. It was erratic as all get out. And I just thought, oh, boy, all right, another one that can't seem to find it. So knowing that I had gotten a good report about him a couple years ago or whatever, Ben, or a year ago, came out and looked really good. My initial thought was, are we sure we want him? Does he throw too hard for typically the guy that A.J. Preller likes? We don't have a lot of the real high velo guys. I mean, Suarez, yes. Estrada, we're kind of gravitating towards that now, but before it's like we'd bring a guy up, he sits 93, 94, and I liked what I saw from him yesterday. And by all accounts, good kid, hard worker. I hate to say it, but the bulldog mentality, like wants the ball, wants to go out and throw strikes. So yeah, good to see. And hopefully, he showed enough that they'll keep him around.
Ultimately, the Padres hit the All-Star break probably at a good time. You'd rather have them playing well, but of course, if you're playing well, then that's the last time you want to take 4 days off and not play baseball. Padres are beat up. This is 4 days where guys who have been playing through injuries can take some time off, try to get a little bit healthier, hopefully get a little bit closer toward the return of some of their starting pitching, including Joe Musgrove, who threw a bullpen session, is going to throw another one with full velo coming up here. He's not going to be back until at least August, but he continues to take progressions and steps towards returning, and hopefully when the Padres do come back, they'll be at least a little bit closer to being, never going to be at full health, obviously, the rest of the season, but the best way they're going to have a good second half is to get some of these key contributors back. Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to have an MRI during the All-Star break to see how his healing has gone, and if that goes well, he might start a little more on the rehab process toward returning as well. So
I'd say that would be a pretty big add.
That would be a big get in the second half of the season, regardless of what the Padres do at the trading deadline.
Where are we at again with season series against Atlanta?
They did win the season series.
Okay,
we can talk about Saturday's game coming up, but with the just the one win, they went 4-3 against the Atlanta Braves. Did win the season series, and while you say, well, it doesn't matter if you're not in a playoff spot, I think they're only 4.5 games behind the Braves. So. Yeah. At the end, they could end up in a tie with the Braves, and then the tie would go to the San Diego Padres if it comes down to a playoff spot or playoff seeding. So that was a check mark that the Padres got this weekend in taking the season series, and they did clinch at the very bare minimum a winning record at the All-Star break at 50 and 49, which feels like where they should be.
Yeah, it was just too perfect. I mean, 50 and 49 was about. It just feels perfect for this team as we've covered them for every pitch this season. That's exactly how it feels that it should be. Not 5 games over. That's when I got really excited when we were.
Got 6 at one point.
6 games over. I was all right. Things are looking up. Then you drop that.
That's when you started feeling like maybe this team's got it. Because
I had bought in.
For so much of this season, feels like the bar has just been to stay above 500.
Right.
That's not really the bar you want.
You can't have that bar.
Like that's not the bar that World Series contenders and teams that have a hope for a deep playoff run, their goal is not to just be over 500.
It's those long 5-6 game skids.
Yet the Arizona Diamondbacks won 84 games last year. Essentially
84.
3 wins more than 500 and ended up in the World Series.
I know.
So, yeah, I mean, that's not the goal or the bar, but sometimes it is good enough in baseball.
And that's the hope.
So just stay above 500.
They got bodied in the World Series by a much better team.
Yeah, for sure. That
belonged there.
That belonged there. I get it. I totally get it. But no, I can see, I see they're able to sell you either way, pretty much, whatever way they're going to go. But
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The Padres are in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
If you want to see a team that's got a shot, and if you want to see the positives of how they played well and battled and won some walk-offs and did some things they didn't do in 2023, you can see that. You can definitely see that. But if you want to see a team that's basically the same old Padres that, doesn't get the job done, that has continued struggles in the pitching rotation, in the bullpen, and probably isn't going anywhere, you can see that as well
No question.
in the San Diego Padres.
No
the
question.
Padres
They've
are in the eye of the beholder.
They have absolutely remained just an impossible team to cover. My theory hasn't changed. It's been over a year and a half of this now. They are an impossible team to handicap. They just are. You never know. You never know what's going to happen with this team.
Games they should win, they lose.
Yep.
Games they shouldn't win,
they win.
They win.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And for those who say, well, they're a 500 team, yeah, you're right. But the way they got there, especially over the past month and a half,
bananas.
Streaks of such good play, followed by streaks of such bad play, and then good play, and then
good
bad
starting
play.
pitching, bad bullpen. Bad starting pitching, great bullpen.
Hitting better than anybody in the league, hitting worse than anybody in the league.
That's a 500 team.
But
500.
but why can't they just be mediocre at everything? All
that
the
would
way,
make
like
them
most
also a
500 teams.
Yeah.
Yes,
It would just look different.
Yeah, 100%.
But this is the kind of 500 team that gives you the highs of highs and the lows of lows.
Right.
Easy does it. Says the good teams find ways to win when they're banged up. They've done that.
And they
They've
did.
They've
They
absolutely
did.
done
For
that.
a good stretch. They
They-
played their best
I
baseball
know.
when they were banged up.
It's bananas, man. Can't make sense of it. I'm going to stop trying.
We'll come back. We can talk about the good game from the weekend. Saturday's Dylan Cease masterpiece win over the Atlanta Braves. And then we'll get into a little Take on Woods. Got a whole summer break theme for you this week on Take on Woods. Chance to win a trip to Las Vegas. All coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits, still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. So we're going to head back to Saturday a little bit, and the Padres did win that game. Their only win in their last 7 games, I believe, when Dylan Cease dominated in a 4-0 win over the Braves to snap a 5-game losing streak. 6 innings, 1 hit, 11 strikeouts for Dylan Cease, who is pretty much the Padres in a microcosm in a starting pitching package.
Yes, good point.
Can look absolutely terrific,
Dominant.
and then can just blow up with home runs and go like, well, what happened today with Dylan Cease? Doesn't always make a lot of sense, but he's always got those great ace-like performances in him. And it was an outstanding effort all the way through. But his final inning, the 6th inning, I don't know if you got to see this, Woods. He struck out the side, his 9th, 10th, and 11th strikeouts in the 6th inning against the heart of the Braves order. Gets Ozzie Albies just on a nasty 89-mile-an-hour slider. Then hits 100 to get Austin Riley swinging on the outside corner. And then goes back to the 100-mile-an-hour to set up Matt Olson to again get him on the slider down by the feet. I mean,
when he's on, man,
he's
he's an artist. He is a total artist. When his mechanics are in line, he throws that effortless 100. It's the effortless, Benny. He is not all arms and legs going at you. He is so slick with it when he's locked in.
I forget who were the Fox broadcasters for the game, but they were just glowing. I mean, all game about
Joe Dave?
Dylan Cease. I don't know if he was on or not. I was at work, and we had all the assassination coverage going on, so I wasn't listening. But when I did, I kept hearing, I mean, this guy is just so unbelievably good, and Dylan Cease, and just look at this nasty, nasty stuff.
I know AJ Pierzynski was on the broadcast because he may actually make an appearance in Don't Do This.
Oh, good.
Okay.
In about 20 minutes.
So, yeah, they win that game. Padres fans turned out this weekend, just as they always have all season. Gave Cease a huge ovation, 43,000 plus on Saturday as he walked off the mound. He was over 100 pitches, so you kind of knew that was it. Padres fans, well aware of the situation, showed their appreciation. And then offensively, Padres did enough. 3 guys in particular that game. Luis Ariz, who had been slumping, delivered 3 hits, including a big RBI double. Donovan Solano had 3 hits, including 2 runs batted in that game, and big clutch hits with 2 outs. And then, of course, Manny Machado had 3 hits, including his 13th home run of the season for number 13 to kind of ice it there late in the game as the Padres won 4-0 over the Braves. And after the game, Woods, Mike Schilt called it like a playoff-type game. And again, he's not wrong.
I mean, it's Ronaldo Lopez who's been fantastic this year for them. Fantastic. And you beat that guy, and your ace goes out and pitches like an ace. Yeah, I mean, you can totally see these two teams squaring up again. And, I thought that was a really impressive win. You know, we have not talked about Friday's horrific loss, in my opinion. Horrific loss. And again, you know, when Schwellenbach beats you on Friday night, it's just, and you go out and you're able to beat Ronaldo Lopez, it's just such a bummer. I mean, you had to know, like, Chris Sale awaits you on Sunday. We have to go out and grind and take 2 out of 3. Honestly, the way they'd been playing, I did not think they'd beat Ronaldo Lopez. I did not. I had no inkling that they would. I thought Friday was the one they'd get, but they went out and handled business Saturday. Yeah, I mean, would you say 1 win in the last 6?
7.
I said good, 2 hits for Schwellenbach. It sounded like a 2-hit shutout.
You're like, oh, it's 2-hit shutout.
We got 3.
3.
They get a run. They get a run.
Yeah. Very
in
cool.
that game on Friday.
Very
and Matt Waldron, I mean, wasn't bad. He had 1 bad inning. Otherwise, he went 7 innings. 6 of them were shutout.
Yep.
And then one of them, he hung a couple of sweepers and gave up the 2 home runs, and that was the ball game when you're not getting anything going offensively.
Matty Waldron is going to keep you in games. He's proven that. He's proven that the entire first half of the season. He keeps you in ball games. You got to know. I heard Jesse and Scan talking about this yesterday. Matt Waldron throwing the first game of the series really jacks up the other team's preparation. Like, they can't prepare the way they normally would for what they're going to see because they have to prepare for something that just is you can't prepare for the knuckleball because you don't know when he's going to throw it. He gets beat by Ozuna on not his best pitch, twice. And that's what's been killing this team. That's happened to us a few times this year. Guys have gotten us on your third, fourth best pitch, and Matt Waldron's no different on Friday night.
Reminds me when Cease gave up a home run on that changeup a couple of starts ago as well. We've absolutely seen that.
If they get you, you tip your cap. But man, don't hang sliders to Marcell Ozuna. He's going to pound you.
Need a contestant for Take on Woods. Chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas, Rio, 2 nights, dinner for 2, day bed at the pool as well. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. I don't know if anyone told Woods, but when he was gone on Friday, we saw the best all-time performance in Take on Woods. The fastest 5 correct answers in history.
I've gotten some pretty
You've
fast
gotten some
ones.
fast, but Paul and I agree. This may have been
he
the
didn't
quickest
even let
ever.
the questions finish.
He was so fast. This is John from down the hall.
Yeah, I
so
heard he slayed.
he set a bar for you to try to eclipse.
Was it like terrible country music? Was that the?
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. I think the category was songs with a boy in the boy or boys in the title,
okay.
and he just
slayed it.
came ready to go. Now he had the category.
Oh, okay. Well,
which
I don't
does
get
help.
the category.
You don't get
It's
the
much
category.
easier.
It is
with the
easier
category.
with the category.
Give me a break.
I'll definitely give that. So give us a call, 833-288-0973. We're going to play here just a couple of minutes. We do need a contestant to try to qualify for our grand prize to Las Vegas. Saturday was also the start of the All-Star festivities, the MLB All-Star Futures game in Arlington, Texas, with a pair of Padres representatives. If you missed it, the National League was a 6-1 winner over the American League, and Robbie Snelling did get in, just faced one batter, got a pop-up, so not, just a quick, brief cameo appearance. Ethan Salas did play a few innings, had a couple at-bats, went 1 for 2, and the reports were mostly pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, people say that...
Loud bat.
Yeah, it comes off a little different with Ethan Salas, and while he's still a long way away from the big leagues, it's good to hear it from outside the Padres organization, from people who are observing and going, I know sometimes we get a lot of hype on Padres minor leaguers and prospects, but this kid looks like the real deal, even if his numbers this year haven't been terrific at Fort Wayne. The tools, the things that made him a top international signing a couple of years ago still seem to remain true for Ethan Salas.
Nothing's changed there.
No, and Leodalis DeVries has been playing out of his mind lately as well.
Every time I see a highlight reel of him, not only does he look incredible, he's got the thing. He's got like the point to the bench, get on my back. He's got the thing. Like for an 18-year-old kid, he's like stepping into like a leadership role. I mean, the kid looks unbelievable. When I watch him play, I'm like, all right, that's my guy. That's my guy I got to hang on to like grim death.
Still need a contestant for Take on Woods. Call in 833-288-0973. Our summer break week getting started here with a chance to go to Vegas. By the way, our boss is in Vegas this week, isn't he?
That's the rumor. I have not talked to him. He did call me to chew me out the day I left so I left Thursday after the show. He called me to chew me out for my other vacation, my family vacation to Hawaii. Hey, yeah. What date are you leaving again? So I told him what day. He goes, the trade deadline is the next day. And I said, I didn't book it. My wife booked it. You yell at her. I have no idea. I don't make any decisions like that in my home.
I did not make
up.
the decision on our vacation, the trade deadline 2 years ago either.
Well,
that was my wife's family reunion.
This is my wife's family.
I had nothing to do with it.
I have nothing to do with it. Zero. I just go, what time do we leave? All right, I'll be packed. I'll be ready to go. I know this is my wife's family, the whole thing. I have nothing to do with it. So the trade deadline is on
Tuesday the 30th.
I fly out that morning at 9:30. So, yes, I'll call in at 6 a.m. and say, what's up, fellas, from the airport. But there's nothing I can do for it. Did you get chewed out by Adam?
No, I got by you guys.
Oh, by us, yeah,
you and
100%.
Paul. I think he didn't feel like he needed to do it because I got it from both of you
Oh,
guys.
I expect it from you guys. But the thing is like, he wants to move the round table to that day.
Yeah,
so
I got that. I got
table.
that call. He wants to do the round table on Tuesday.
This round table is controlling my life. The whole thing about this round table. I'm like, buddy, I got a 4-hour show I got to worry about.
And I thought, I thought when he called me, he wanted to do an extra round table on Tuesday and then do
A
another
double
one on
deuce,
Thursday.
yeah,
And I'm
double
like,
up.
No, I can't do that.
So-
But then he said, no, we just moved the one from Thursday to Tuesday. And I go, okay, I can live with that.
You know what? I
can live with that.
I submit to you, this is like the toughest week for all of us here. This is. There's no baseball to talk about. This is the toughest week for your air staff. What do you do when the going gets tough? You take off to Vegas. Enjoy. Hope you're having a great time. We're dying over here.
He's having his summer break.
What is he doing in Vegas?
Hey,
What is,
can
where
I
is
double down?
Sir, would you like to cash in that 100? Okay. Can I double down? Hit me. I'll stay. He's going to murder us.
All right, I see our phone lines are full. Let's get to our game. It is time for Take on Woods. All right, let's pick a contestant here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. This is Luis.
What?
Oh, are you calling for Take on Woods?
I am, actually.
All right, you're our contestant, Luis. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. And again, you're playing for our grand prize drawing trip to the Rio, Las Vegas, 2-night stay, dinner for two, day bed at the Rio pool. The Rio is back, new ownership, newly remodeled rooms, 4 sparkling new pools, and a brand new food hall. Book now at RioLasVegas.com. Well, you can't have summer break without the girls. So I've thrown out all the old categories, and we're bringing in something new this week.
Kenny, I like it.
All girls, all the time, Luis. And your 3 categories are all the same. They're all called Girl Power. And they're all song titles that end with the word girl. Your only choice is era. 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s, or 2000s and 2010s. Otherwise, it's all girl power this week. So, Luis, what would you like to play? 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s, or 2000s and 2010s?
Let's go with 80s and 90s.
80s and 90s. He's right there in the wheelhouse, I think, of our listeners' age, just like Woods and my age, 80s and 90s. So again, category is girl power. We're looking for 5 song titles that all end with the word girl from the 80s and 90s. You'll have 60 seconds. Pass if you don't know an answer. First question is the 2-second song. Paulie, going to play a well-known hit from the 80s or 90s. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. Luis, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your score against Woods. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. The category, girl power. Good luck, Luis. Let's take on Woods.
That's Billy Joel, Uptown Girl.
Correct. Which 1985 song about wanting to live the high life led to Madonna's most enduring nickname?
Material Girl.
Correct. Co-written and sung by Gwen Stefani, which female empowering 1995 single was a breakthrough hit for No Doubt?
Don't Speak?
Incorrect. A famous toy inspired which 1997 international mega hit for Danish-Norwegian dance pop group Aqua?
Pass.
Kurt Cobain revealed that which song from Nirvana's debut album in 1994 referred to his then girlfriend Tracy Marander?
Pass again.
All right, a famous
What was the other one?
toy inspired which 1997 international mega hit for Danish-Norwegian dance pop group Aqua? Remember the category?
Yeah.
Quickly.
I'm Barbie.
Barbie Girl. Yeah, Barbie Girl. Remember, you didn't remember the category, though. They all ended in girl. But you would have had that one. You did get the first 2, Uptown Girl and Material Girl. Just a Girl by No Doubt and About a Girl
For what it's worth, I don't know that one would have made
was
a
made. I don't
difference
think so
here.
either. We'll see. Woods doesn't get the category, but he'll figure it out pretty quickly. All right, Luis's score is locked in. Let's put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods' turn. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Luis.
Uptown Girl by Billy Joel.
Correct. Which 1985 song about wanting to live the high life led to Madonna's most enduring nickname?
Material Girl.
Correct. Co-written and sung by Gwen Stefani, which female empowering 1995
Just
single?
a Girl.
Correct. A famous toy inspired which 1997 international mega hit for Danish-Norwegian dance pop group Aqua?
Oh, is that Barbie Girl?
Correct. Kurt Cobain revealed that which song for Nirvana?
About a Girl.
No, see, that's a 5 for 5. And that's a win for Woods. And a pretty quick one as well.
Without the category.
And without the category. Pretty impressive start to the week here.
Feels real good.
Luis, thank you for playing. Not good enough today against Woodsy, but feel free to try again at any time in Take on Woods.
Feels real good.
All right. Paulie mentioned he's got some audio from Saturday's game for Don't Do This from AJ Przinsky. I would also like to get into what happened last night in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium.
Man.
Before the game
Game
started, the Copa America final.
The delay.
Big old Don't Do This gets to us coming up next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Don't take my word for it. They're like reviews are off the charts.
Take my word for it. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we both had it. They're phenomenal, but the reviews they're getting are off the charts. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. And Paulie's brought some audio to the table to start us out today on Don't Do This. All girls, all the time. No, not that audio.
Oh, sorry.
Woods wasn't around for that.
That sounds great.
All girls, all the time. Talking about Adam's vacation in Las Vegas.
Oh, all right. What a drop.
All girls, all the time. That's definitely a top 3 seed.
Ben, what were your
next
summers
year.
like when you were like 16?
All girls, all the time.
Oh, man, I miss it
believe
too.
it.
I miss it, bro.
I believe it.
I miss it.
No, that was not the audio.
That's greatness.
Oh my God! Yeah. So Saturday night, Saturday evening, the Padres and Braves on Fox. It was Joe Davis and AJ Przinsky,
the
Ken
best.
Rosenthal.
The creme de la creme.
Yeah. And AJ Przinsky at one point in the game had this little comment, and I don't know. I'll let you guys decide for yourself.
All right.
Sure sounds like a shot at
You
Padres
took
fans.
offense, and I like that.
After the NLCS run 2022. Strike one.
Well, I was here for that when they beat the Dodgers in the division series. That was Padres fans' World Series. It shouldn't be, but man, the reaction. We beat the Dodgers.
Do you guys feel that? You guys feel something?
Feel something?
Did you guys like feel? I thought I felt like a quake or
Saw
something.
your
Did you?
reaction.
Maybe that's
Maybe
just
it's
your
in
gut
the audio. Play the audio
rumbling.
again. Play the audio.
After the NLCS run
No, it's in the audio.
2022.
It's weird. Oh, okay.
After the NLCS run 2022.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
shot.
there's like
It's
yeah,
a
it's
shot.
totally
Strike one. Well, I was here for that when they beat the Dodgers in the division series. That
but it
was
was a big
That
deal.
was Padres fans' World Series.
That was such a great
It
moment. Like,
shouldn't be, but man, the reaction. We beat the Dodgers.
I guess what
yeah, bro, they won 111 games
I guess
that year.
what
Are you
bothers
kidding
me
me?
is that
If we beat the Cardinals to go to the NLCS, we would have celebrated.
you can't really make the comparison until the day the Padres fans win the World Series. And if the Padres win the World Series and fans go, great, we won, but really what we wanted was beating the Dodgers. That was our World Series.
Does
But
does
World
everybody
Series is cool, but remember when we
remember
beat the Dodgers?
when they beat the Dodgers, they got to advance to the National League Championship Series, which is on the way to hopefully winning a World Series. Are you not supposed to be excited about that?
Does everybody remember that the Dodgers spent the entire season pantsless with every media member? You know where I'm going with this? 100. Oh my God, we've never seen a team like this. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm actually more worried about this under the radar.
We are winning the World
struggling
Series in
Dodgers team
2022.
this year.
Bro, 100%, man. 100%.
We are winning the World Series in 2022.
No one's even looking at them anymore because they've struggled so much and they had so many injuries.
If only we had played better. And that's my big lament. They really hit the skids, too, the last 40-some-odd
lost
games.
6 of 7 as well.
Yeah.
Padres, if they had a good homestand, they could be
Like
three
three
games
games
out
out.
of first place right now.
It's what makes me want to just, like, fall on a sword. Oh, man. Let's go to last night. I actually, you know, it's funny. I saw a tweet, and it's from a buddy. And he's like, yes, more soccer talk and Don't Do This. I feel bad. Like, I feel that we only bring up soccer
The
talk.
soccer was good yesterday.
The soccer was spectacular.
The first
I watched,
game was terrific. Spain beating England 2-1 in the Euro 2024 final.
Yep.
And then when they finally got to the game last night, there was plenty of drama between Argentina and Colombia in the Copa America final. But the Don't Do This happened before the game, Woods, when everyone's been waiting all day. Supposed to start at 8 o'clock
man.
kickoff in Miami. But because of a major security breach, and they saw video of it, fans who didn't have tickets, but before the game were just storming the gates, climbing over the walls to try to get in.
Going in through the air ducts. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
They ended up having to delay 82 minutes all the way to 9:22 p.m. just to get started in that game. And then they had an extra long halftime show with Shakira performing, which is fine. Don't have a problem with that. But then they went to extra time in another 30 minutes. So game didn't end until, close to midnight on the East Coast. But clearly security was not prepared for the Argentina and Colombia fans that they got. And that was the Don't Do This there. I saw a great tweet. I think it said, Maybe they spent a little too much on Shakira, and not enough on security.
It's not that great, actually. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not.
Sorry, I liked it. I thought it was clever.
You know, it obviously brings up, is the United States prepared for what is to
The World Cup.
The World Cup to come in a couple of years.
And then sub don't do this to Messi's ankle. Non-contact injury.
Bro, I couldn't stop looking at
And,
that
you know,
ankle.
it's soccer. You go down and they're writhing in pain and going, oh, just get up. It's soccer. And then he takes him off the field and he's crying. You're still like, come on, dude, get back on the field. We know. And then they showed the ankle, and I go, oh, I feel bad for even doubting that was a real injury. It was swollen like a grapefruit.
It is like a sausage. Like it's skinny at the bottom, and then it just balloons up, and the toe, everything. It's just jacked.
Yeah.
It was. I enjoyed the game. I put the game on last night and enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, it was really, really exciting. And of course, they had people standing at the gates that were locked out, holding their tickets up to the guys. And I paid $2,000 to get in here. You're not letting me in. Security was going row by row. Need to see your ticket, and they were just booting people out as it went. Yeah, I mean, look, you hate that this happened. Was anyone injured? Did anybody get injured?
I don't know if there were any injuries reported.
Major
injuries reported.
So I guess
just chaos.
I guess use this. You can't have enough security as it pertains to the World Cup. When it comes. All right, and I don't have a do this. It's not positive, but it's always kind of fun listening to ex-ball players talk about the modern game. And by fun, I mean excruciating. Jim Edmonds was on the call for the Cardinals, and, you know, Jimmy Edmonds had a really nice career, but he pops in, I think, with those guys every now and then. I don't know that he's there all the time. I haven't heard a lot of Jim Edmonds working with the Cards, but kind of one of those guys that
Did anyone have a
comes and
worse
goes.
stint with the San Diego Padres? Maybe Ian Kinsler.
Maybe
but
Kinsler. Yeah.
Jim Edmonds is right there in worst ever Padres.
Christopher Morel hit a couple of home runs against him. And, you know, I'm begging baseball to really think it through about having guys in the game, calling the game, that hate the modern game so much.
So the Cubs exacting some revenge.
Real quick, my don't do this for this is stop filming
Off the TV?
with your phone.
Yeah, pull it
feed.
from the deal.
Anyways,
And they're going to have back-to-back homers again. Morel hits one deep into the seats. He's got a 2-homer game.
This kid's celebration is a joke. I don't mind saying it at all. I've never seen anything like it.
You don't watch much baseball,
do you?
What did he do?
Nothing.
You're a 229 hitter in the big leagues when you're running around like you're Barry Bonds.
Now, who caught this ball in left? Remember?
Then he makes fun of the guy in the.
So he's not allowed to celebrate because his batting average is not high enough.
You listen, I saw
Which, by the way, is about the average batting average in baseball now.
I saw the celebration, and he hit it. He turned, he looked at his dugout, and was like, "Yay!" And then hit the deck. When he hit home plate, he did the thing up at the sky. They usually do that for their grandfather that passed away or something, right? And he lost his mind, man. Again, having these guys call these games as you're trying to market this game and you're trying to grow this game, guys that absolutely hate the way baseball is played these days, it just irks me every single time.
Well, that's don't and more don't do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
A.J. Preller is hoping that his first and second round draft picks last night were do this is. We'll talk about what the Padres picked up last night in the draft. If you missed it, had a chance to talk to the first round draft pick as well. Get to that coming up next with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball is a lot of things, but it isn't boring. Join Rob Bradford on his podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring. Every day, Rob takes you to the league, spotlights what makes the game fun. Got to meet him at the winter meetings. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Our Odyssey colleague. You can follow the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. So I'm just going to come clean. I committed a faux pas last night during the Padres introductory Zoom news conference to introduce their first-round draft pick.
You didn't know your camera was on and you were nude.
No, I was at work.
Get your cat filter on.
No, it's not quite that bad, but I will come clean and we can talk about the
Ben, is that you?
I had a different kind of filter apparently on. AJ Cassavell was very mad at me. Very mad at me.
How do you make AJ
I know,
Cassavell
that's what hurts me the most. And we'll get to that and talk about the Padres' first and second round draft picks right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Very few accidents on our roads this morning. It's been mostly about stalled vehicles. Got one on Delmar Heights Road off-ramp, southbound 5. Also, northbound side of the 5 Genesee off-ramp, we have reports of a stalled vehicle over to the right shoulder. Southbound side of the 15, right past West Bernardo, we have reports of some debris in middle lanes. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So first-year player draft, MLB draft, got underway last night. They did the first 2 rounds. And the first-round draft pick for the Padres with the 25th overall selection went with a pitcher from high school, Elk City High School in Oklahoma, Cash with a K, Mayfield, left-handed pitcher, 19 years old, 2-time Gatorade Oklahoma Baseball Player of the Year. Put up some gaudy stats in high school as, major league quality draft picks tend to do. He went 8-0. His ERA was 0.16.
Jeez.
And his whip was 0.27. In fact, he allowed 4 hits. No, not in one game. He allowed 4 hits his entire senior season.
He limited opponents to an 0.30 batting average. What in the world?
He's not the only guy that'll put up gaudy numbers like that. The competition is completely overmatched. This guy's throwing, easy mid to upper 90s against, high school kids in Oklahoma that have no chance against him whatsoever.
The question that I ask is, should Hannah and me and my kids move to Elk Turd, Oklahoma or something?
Bo will be an incredible superstar.
Hey, what do you guys think of Oklahoma? What do you guys think? Where was Ryan Weathers from? He had the same kind of numbers. Was it Tennessee?
Yeah, Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, but he had like no competition. He just carved guys up. Great for the confidence. Man.
So, yeah, it doesn't mean he's going to be a superstar, but, the best thing that Cash Mayfield has going for him is that A.J. Preller and Chris Kemp think he's going to be a star, and they've done pretty well in this whole draft game the last few seasons and restocking the Padres farm system. So they finished the first round, and the Padres were kind enough to set up Cash Mayfield on a Zoom with local media. Wasn't a ton of people on there. The regular reporters, including Jeff Sanders and A.J. Cassavell, Dennis Lynn. I think there were a couple of TV guys on there. And A.J. started by asking a couple of questions about Cash Mayfield. It seems like a good kid. Took a year off, kind of.
Okay, that was wondering about
that's why he's 19. And basically took a summer off as well just to rebuild his physique and strengthen his shoulder. I guess he was having some shoulder problems. So
take a year off to rebuild my physique.
He was,
see what I can do.
He said, obviously it worked out for me because here I am drafted in the first round. He's got a full ride at Oklahoma State, but he was pretty clear that pro baseball is what he wants to do and seemed eager to sign with the San Diego Padres. I don't think signability is going to be an issue, but, AJ asked a question, and they ask, are there any other questions? Type your name in the chat, so pop my name in. I've got a question or two.
Okay.
But then I pop in, and I don't realize this. So when you're on Zoom, you've got your audio settings, and I'm just audio through the computer so you can hear me, and then your video settings. And I assumed it was set to my camera so you could see me when I'm asking the question. But unfortunately,
corn tub?
I had it plugged into my DVR, which was recording the soccer game last night. God. So apparently when I went on to ask the question, you heard me, but you saw halftime of the Argentina.
Shakira.
Yeah, Shakira performing.
They're like, you pervert deviant. What are you doing?
All girls, all the time.
You absolute. Who is this local news pervert?
Which I guess wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, except AJ Cassavell, a friend from MLB.com. Oh, no. They had the score on the screen. It was 0-0 at halftime, and he texts me and he goes, I've been waiting all day. I had to do this draft coverage. I'm recording the game. I told everyone, just don't tell me what's going on. I don't want to know what's going on in the game. And then my question pops up, and he sees 0-0 halftime, Shakira performing. He goes, God, I mean, bless. I was just trying to avoid it right after the news conference. Oh, let me see what he said.
Oh, Betty. You did this on our member live stream as well.
Hi, Ben. Your screen was the Copa America halftime show, which I wouldn't take any issue at all with, except I've been saving that on DVR to watch after I'm done churning out our draft coverage. Said, LOL, thank God it was 0-0. If it was like 3-2, I'd have been pissed.
Oh, yeah. Listen, hey, at the end of the day.
Still 0-0, you know nothing's coming in the first half. Might as well have skipped over it right to the second half. Maybe I saved him some time.
I mean, it's also soccer. So, I mean, would you miss a goal? Maybe. You missed nothing.
He missed nothing.
0-0.
Nothing at all in the first half.
0-0. All right.
All the excitement was in the second half and in extra time.
And before the game. Holy smokes, Benjamin.
So then they went on to the second round.
Oh, I like this kid.
Yeah, they took another left-handed pitcher, another big hoss. In fact, he's so big. His nickname is Sasquatch, and his name is, I believe, Boston Bateman.
Boston Bateman.
From Camarillo High School, which is up there kind of in the Ventura area between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara. Kid is, 6'8", 6'7", 6'8"? He is huge.
6'8", 240 pounds.
I mean, usually if you're that size and that age, they steer you into, football or basketball. But he is a pitcher on the mound, and basically one of the biggest prospects AJ and Chris Kemp said they have ever seen.
6'8".
And he was the second-round pick. And he's got a cool name, Boston Bateman. Both of them have
huge.
Cool
Paulie
names.
oh, my God, that's him?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, my God. Bro, you...
Can he swing the bat, too?
You lost. You feel like you're on deck. You're like, I don't want any part of this guy. Not even a little
Some
bit.
120-pound sophomore.
He's a high schooler big unit, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's like more filled out than even Randy Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez,
not quite as tall, but...
Got the lettuce flowing.
Oh, I like it. Purple says it looks like he doesn't have a lot of extension. Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. He is huge, dude. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens here with these guys. And, it's funny, man. Like, you used to, with baseball, I mean, think about the guys that were drafted last year that are playing right now in the big leagues. Crazy. Like, it's absolutely happening. Usually the upper level guys, but Paul Skeens and Wyatt Langford and all these cats.
Paul Skeens went from pitching to LSU to starting the All-Star game in like 13 months.
Crazy, dude. So I don't know that that's the path for either of these guys.
I did, in a second Zoom, I did ask AJ Preller about that, and I had fixed my camera, so I think he saw me and not the second half of the soccer game.
Morning, guys.
But I said, obviously, you've traded away a lot of your older upper-level prospects in the last couple of years. Now, you've got good prospects, but they're mostly young, 20 and under.
Yeah.
Lesko, DeVries, Salas, they're all either 18, 17, 20 years old, and now you've drafted a couple of more teenagers out of high school. Was there ever any thought of maybe going for a more seasoned college guy who might be closer to the big leagues to restock the top of the draft? And AJ was like, not really. We are always going to take the best player available. And with so many other teams going after college guys for immediate help, we thought that the best players available were the younger high school guys. And the Padres, maybe more so than any other franchise, they've been unafraid to go after the really high-end high school prospects. They're not afraid, Tommy John surgery, whatever. They have been completely unafraid. They go, this guy projects as potentially the biggest star in this draft. And he has dropped to us because he's younger or he's had some injury issues, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go purely on talent and best player available. And they did that again with their first two draft picks yesterday.
I did see the pick that went right before the Padres was Cam Caminiti cousin of Ken Caminiti. And I did see a lot of people, Padres obviously lost the Braves yesterday, and people were like, oh, they got us twice. That was another name that was long rumored with A.J. Preller, left-handed pitcher, 17-year-old pitcher, left-hander, 24th overall selection by the Braves. So, yeah, I mean, you know, who knows? Who knows which of these guys will pan out? But boy, when I saw the size that came in on the second kid, I was like, look at this dude. I like that. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. I mean, these guys put in a tremendous amount of work to get the guys that they want, and you know, until like you were just going over their last few drafts. I mean, they've done well in the draft, and they've moved some of those pieces.
Yeah, and,
but
you know, remember the baseball draft is the hardest to identify talent. You know, compared to football or basketball, it's much more difficult, and there are many more busts in the first round, even at the top of the first round, than in the other sports. But A.J. Preller's done a really good job. I mean, here is his first round draft pick since he took over. He didn't have a pick in 2015, but then 2016, Cal Quantrill, you know, was turned into a decent major leaguer. Then Mackenzie Gore, obviously, is in the big leagues, was part of the Juan Soto trade. Ryan Weathers, who is pitching well this year now for the Marlins. C.J. Abrams, an all-star this year. Robert Hassel III also helped him get Juan Soto. Jackson Merrill, all-star this year, center fielder for the Padres. Dylan Lesko, obviously still just 20 years old, but considered one of the top prospects in the Padres system. Dylan Head, who was traded, was he in the Arise or the Cease trade? He was in one of those trades earlier this year, wasn't he? And then now Cash Mayfield.
Yep.
So, you know, AJ's had a
went
very
to Florida, right?
AJ's had a very productive first round draft pick track record over the past decade.
Cash Mayfield. Well, welcome to the San Diego Padres. Did you get a chance to talk to him? Ask him any questions?
Did talk to him. I asked him about whether it was, you know, the Oklahoma State scholarship and what his thinking was in terms of starting his pro career, and that's when he said, "Yeah, definitely been looking forward to pro ball my whole life. This is my dream, and excited to join the Padres organization." Now he was clearly he was at a watch party with his family and everything, and I felt bad for him because at one moment he had to I saw him mute his computer because you can see him talking, and he's looking over at family members.
Yo,
He's like,
shut up!
Quiet down!
Shut up!
Quiet
On the damn Zoom!
Quiet down! I'm
God
talking to the
dang.
San Diego media.
Yo,
I can't,
shut up!
I can't even hear the questions. He's got headphones on. He's like, I can't hear anything. Everybody, please be quiet.
Yo, shut
This is
up.
my big day.
Damn.
This confident guy. I mean, you know, when you ask him what are his strengths, and he goes, competitor. Absolutely hate to lose. I've got a really good work ethic, which is fine. Usually, you want to let other people say that about you, but if you don't know anything about them, I guess you got to toot your own horn at least on the first day that you've arrived.
100%.
So that was the draft. It continues today, rounds 3 through 10, starting at 11 this morning. So Annie and Elston will probably have updates for you on more Padres picks if any names of note are selected. And then tomorrow, rounds 11 through 20, which is that's it now. Remember, they shortened the draft up by quite a bit a few years ago, I think right around the pandemic, and it's only 20 rounds. It used to be, I want to say 60 rounds in the draft. Like Mike Piazza was like a 58th round selection or something.
What a nightmare.
They don't have to do that anymore. And then, you know, the Padres, after the draft is over, will go and sign a bunch of guys who didn't get drafted and refill the farm system as they do every single year. And it's one of the things they do well. Now, once they get them into the system, maybe developing them to their full potential, maybe not the strongest suit of the Padres, but they get them into the system.
Keep moving them. You keep moving them.
Yeah, and they keep replenishing and reloading through the draft and through international signings, which has undoubtedly been a strength of A.J. Preller during his decade as general manager.
No question about it. No question. Good for you for jumping on there last night and you know, exerting your will over young Cash Mayfield.
I was able to get a little Cash Mayfield sound on my show last night.
Yeah, a little FaceTime. I like
it.
And then where's that sound for this show today?
You could have gotten it right off that Zoom if you wanted.
But you didn't.
I do have it.
You
I'll
literally
send it to
pulled it and saved it for your
I do
news
send it
flash.
to Paulie right now. I've got it on my computer
I mean,
at the moment.
We kind of missed our window.
It's a good point.
Would have been a
Before the
good time
segment.
to play it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, we'll come back, reset everything. Hour number 3. Bennett Woods coming out next year on the
Congratulations,
Fan.
Channel 10. That one. Oh, halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. Great to be here with you guys. Little summer nights from Van Halen always takes me back. It is Ben and Woods summer break. Guys are on vacation. You know, they're taking a well-deserved break. We're going to be here the entire week. It's going to get a little loose in here, I would imagine. We've been pretty steadfast this morning, you know, talking baseball, the draft, all that. Tomorrow we'll have a home run derby to talk about. We'll have the All-Star game. But after that, man, it's kind of lean.
Yeah, we kind of went on summer break, but then we still had some stuff that needed taking care of before you could really dive into vacation.
Correct.
And had to go through the weekend and the draft. And we've been doing that.
I am ready.
You're now ready.
Ready
Paulie's
for
ready.
summer break. Well, like I always think about it because now, you know, one of the realities that punches you in the face when you graduate college is you graduate and you're like, oh man, summer break's gonna kick it. Oh, I don't have a summer break anymore. I work June, July, August, whatever, and it really does. It's kind of a hard reality to face, and you start thinking about and lamenting your summers. Now, I do remember summer sometimes lasting too long. You were ready to get back to school. You were ready to see your friends that you didn't really get to see throughout the summer. But man, those first 2 weeks of summer, there's nothing like it.
I never remember summer lasting too long.
You never did?
No,
I did.
I was
did.
always wanted another week or two at the end of summer.
I like to get back to school and like I said, see my friends, get back in kind of the swing.
I was always ready at the end.
Idle time, Benny, for people like me. Idle time, that's the devil's plaything. And I would get in a lot of trouble, and I was less likely to get in trouble in school. What are some of your favorite memories of your summers as a kid?
Favorite memories or most
all
girls
memories?
all the time?
All girls all the time, yeah.
I will never forget the time that my mom and dad made me do junior lifeguards for 2 weeks. It felt like punishment, actually, to have to go out and run on the beach and, you know, learn how to try to save people's lives in the ocean, like for 2 whole weeks. And, you know, you're wearing the red swim trunks with all the lifeguards.
How old were you?
I was probably like, 12 or 13.
And they
it was like exercise. It was
those guys are
hard.
beasts.
It was like hard.
Baywatch Ben, somebody said in the chat.
I was.
Yeah.
So totally. You had the floaty thing that you carried around with you, and you started the day just run like a half mile down the beach and back in the sand. It's hard to run in sand. It's not easy.
You did not like
it. Exhausting. Oh, it was exhausting.
There were girls there.
No, yeah, that's true.
So I wanted to be in summer. I wanted to be where the girls were. So we had like the community. We had the community pool that we would all go to and hang out at, which was just there's nothing better.
Get kind of sunscreeny, greasy at the end of the day.
They had the high dive and the whole thing. Yeah, it was just amazing.
Our pool had like a barbecue area. Like,
nobody's barbecuing though when you're kids.
No, but you would eat barbecue, like burgers
Was
and
there
hot dogs.
some old guy there cooking up?
Some parents would always be cooking.
Where
there was like a banquet area, and then there was a wiffle ball field right there next to the pool. So you were just there all day long.
Nobody in the chat says inconvenient to save a life. Checks out for Ben. Yeah, 100%. Anything that he could do.
Let's be honest.
To make
They're
him...
not asking a 12-year-old to actually save anybody's life. It's just a way to get you out of the house for a couple of weeks and get some physical activity in during the summer.
Yeah, it's a huge.
Wasn't a huge physical activity kid.
What if you
golf tournament? I played a lot of golf tournaments in the summer. North County Junior Golf Association, and get dropped off in the morning and play golf, and that's what I would do a lot during the summer.
I just remember being like 12 and 13 was a lot of fun, riding bikes like crazy. We used to go to Six Flags when we were like 12. I lived in
Dallas. Is this in Texas or Connecticut?
In Dallas.
This is in Dallas.
I would come home for like a month, but home being Texas, and stay with my friend that actually just left. So I'd stay at his house for about a month. And his parents used to just drop us off at Six Flags and be like, see you later, we'll pick you up at 6.
Wait, you didn't go back to your own house?
What do you mean?
Like your parents' house?
No, we lived in Connecticut. And I would come back and stay with him for a month in Texas, where I had moved from originally. And we rode bikes and like tried to kiss girls, and it was the greatest. It was like the most fun. I had the best summers. Like I look back with such fondness.
Summer in the Pacific Northwest lasted until about 10 o'clock at night. Like the sun did not go down until 9:30, 9:45. So like we were out at 9 a.m. playing, doing whatever we were doing, and you'd come home for lunch, and then go back out. the slip and slide or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you go back for dinner. And then you still had like another
still light.
6 hours.
Go back out.
Home run derby
We were
all
playing
night.
we were playing baseball until like 9 p.m. sometimes.
Yeah, you'd think I'd be better at baseball as
Yeah.
much as we played in
We
the
did
summer.
wiffle ball in the yard. That's neighbor kids come over. Ben Higgins'
Elite.
backyard baseball. We had a really perfectly sized fence to try to reach over
Yeah,
and
to
steal
rob.
home runs.
Yep.
So that was kind of always the goal, was to hit one that was just about an inch or two over the fence so someone could try to jump over and bring it back.
Like I'm pretty happy with my life now, but sometimes when I get real nostalgic, I think about like some of the summers. Ages like 12 was probably the first summer that my parents were like, all right, go. Like, you're free to go and roam and explore, and we'll see you for dinner. Because they both worked. And so I would get on that 10 speed, and we would go to 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee, go rent a movie, whatever. And you got to remember, in Texas, too, it's 114 degrees. So your time outside was fairly limited. A lot of my friends had pools, so you would swim in the pool, play pool baseball. And I just think about it, and I'm like, man, what a bummer for my kids, because when they have summer break, guess who's going to be walking in the door at 11 a.m. every day, ready to put their asses to work? Me, every day. But what are you guys doing? What, are you playing video games? No, get up. Come on. We're going to go do something.
Pool basketball.
Pool basketball, pool volleyball. God, it was the best. Like, oh, this girl likes you. Call her. You spend hours on the phone, like, talking to a girl. There was nothing like it. I really miss it, because life now is a little more different. It's a lot different. I talked to one girl on the phone. She doesn't even like me very much. So, and she won't even talk to me on the phone very long. She texts me. So,
how long would you talk on the phone?
Hours.
Really?
Hours and hours and hours and hours. Oh, let's three-way somebody else in. You get two girls on the phone. Man, it was the best. There was
Girls
nothing
at
like
once. Wow.
Yeah,
Look at
two
you.
girls at the
I
same
think
time.
I was always essentially me. I me. I can't last in a phone conversation more than 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Tops.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Hi, Ben. Are you having a nice summer? Yep.
Yeah,
Sure.
good,
Yep.
good,
Sure.
good.
Yep. It's good. Sure. Well, I guess he doesn't want to talk. That's why you didn't get girls. It's because you were handsome enough, but you wouldn't talk on the phone with him.
Yeah, no,
you
you're
had
right,
to put
yeah.
the work in, dude. I had put in a tremendous amount of work. They call Ben Higgins. Oh, I don't know. Hello? Yep.
Some
Sure.
girl
Just
calls
watching
Ben,
Golden Girls. Yep. Sure.
asks him for help with some tutoring, but she doesn't really want
She doesn't
help
really
with the
want
homework.
tutoring.
But Ben actually went and
Yeah,
helped
I
her
want
with
to
the
tutor.
homework.
Yeah,
he
I
wants to
definitely
actually
want to tutor.
tutor. Oh, I miss it, man. I really do. I miss it. My little one. I mean, dude, it's such a scam now for parents. And all parents out there can relate. I have one that's in preschool, and he can stay till 4:35 if we need to. The other one, that dude is Bo, and he's just like, all right, what's on the agenda this week? I mean, there's camps upon camps. There's camps, sport camps. We sent him to Manny's camp last week. One day, it was incredible.
We talked a little bit about it on Friday,
man.
the video that we saw. But looked like it was nuts out there. I mean, hundreds of kids.
Hundreds of kids.
And there was only one Manny, as far as I could
There
tell.
was only one Manny there, and there were, think about for every kid, there were two parents plus two other siblings. So the surrounding areas of the fields were packed. And
Like 1,000 people there.
Everybody just wanted a shot of Manny Machado. And I will say this. I mean, you guys, the Manny propaganda machine
This
here
is
on
Manny Machado.
97.3 The Fan is comes from me. But I watched him really, closely. And that dude took time to go and talk to every little pod of kids, pitch to Bo. You got to see that. What a special moment that was. They had you could pay extra to get like BP from him. And there was maybe 20 kids that did that. So I was like, oh, well, he'll be done after that. No. Dude went to every single pod, showing them stuff, playing with them. It was really special. And I got a chance to say hello to him. And I talked to his wife, Yainay, for a minute. And she said, she goes, we were blown away. We thought maybe 150 kids. I was like 500 kids there. It was just bananas. And he was outstanding. Talking to all the kids and talking about, how he got there. And it was really cool. Bo really enjoyed it. And got a chance to have a moment with him, which was pretty special.
Any tips that he got? Was there a takeaway from the whole festivities, or was it just more kind of have fun and meet Manny?
It was pretty work hard.
I mean, he has
stay in
intense
school.
baseball camps where he is actually learning fairly high-level instruction for a
he's in one right now.
6-year-old, 7-year-old.
He's in one right now, but it was cool, man. It was. I got to talk to a lot of Tier 1s out there, too. Very, very special people I met. My man Richard was like the biggest Tier 1 I've ever met, so shout out to Richard. It was great. It was a really special day, but I was thinking about that when I was a kid. We didn't have that. Like, there was no. My dad didn't send me to, like, Willie Randolph camp or something, or you know what I mean? Like, they didn't even exist back then, I don't think. It was just your parents got up, they went to work, you were on your own until they got home from work.
Or maybe it did. But without the internet to publicize everything, if you didn't happen to catch the right newspaper ad that was going to tell you about the camp, or
somebody that knows somebody.
Somebody who had signed up, then did we even know what was going on? Now you see it on social media, and it gets pretty much targeted to the right people. You'll find out if there's something that your kids should be interested in. For the most part, there aren't as many secrets nowadays as there used to be.
You might be watching the game, and like they'll show maybe a clip from the camp, like, "Hey, yesterday so and so held his annual camp," and then you're like, "What the hell? I would have gone to that."
Yeah, of course.
That'd have been nice to know about.
It was really cool. I mean, but summers were different back then. But then again, I also think there will never, based on what I know now, what I did. Bro, there's not going to be any, I'm going to turn them loose at the age of 12. No, there's not going to be any, go ride your bikes around. Like, no, like, it's just not going to happen, man. They have to be able to grow a little bit, but it's just
a different
world now.
So
it totally is.
He's going to want to be on video games with his boys and riding e-bikes, an e-bike gang.
And playing baseball. That's what he wants to do. So, like, it just got me thinking about it when, knowing we got summer break today. Thinking about the good summers of the past. And it's funny, you see those memes, like the boomers that we are. Like, oh, we used to drink from the garden hose. We did. We actually literally used to drink from the garden hose and, get into trouble without getting into trouble. It was a different time. It was a lot of fun.
Part of summer, of course, is the Midsummer Classic, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, which is tomorrow in Texas. Tonight, the Home Run Derby, and coming up, we got a special guest in studio who has a connection to that event and a skill set that I think makes him a fascinating guest. So we're going to talk to Ray Crone is with us. He's actually in studio right now, but we'll bring him on here in a couple of minutes. Also, and this is kind of sad, we have a few shout-outs from the weekend to get to. Shout-outs to their families.
How much time do we have?
Because we got a few to talk about coming up here. So that is all coming up. Take a quick time out. It's Ben and Woods. It's summer break. It's a Monday. Glad to have you with us. Kelly's got traffic. And then more on the other side on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Maybe lost in some of the other news that took place over the weekend and, took obviously much of the media attention was a pretty bad weekend for celebrity losses.
Yeah, man.
Several of them, actually, and all of them kind of unique and different. So as we like to do on our program and salute them in the Ben and Woods fashion, we actually have to go with both of our clips. So, Paulie, why don't we start with the shout-out to his family first.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
That one goes out to exercise guru Richard Simmons, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 66. Woods, what were your memories of Richard Simmons?
Well, when I was a kid, it was him being on Letterman and the banter that those guys would just, I mean, it almost felt mean at the time, but Richard was so good at letting things kind of roll off him, and he was just always himself. He did not know how to be anything other than who he was. So that was my first. Then he kind of had a resurgence on the Stern Show many, many years later, and then kind of fell off there and I guess was not in good health at all. But, I mean, he was, when I was a kid, he was like a staple. Like, he was just always around, Richard Simmons.
He was, I saw an old clip of him on Whose Line Is It Anyway with Drew Carey, and just the enthusiasm that he approached everything with. And the message was always good. It was get up and get active.
Yeah,
and,
get moving.
Did it in his own kind of quirky way. But certainly for someone of our age, he was just kind of like, you saw him on the infomercials and just on
the
TV, game shows all the time.
Richard
Simmons was everywhere. Hollywood Squares.
Always on
just
Hollywood
saw him
Squares.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
He just was kind of an ubiquitous member of growing up in like the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s, that Richard Simmons, before the internet, he was like that figure that would have been all over the internet today.
Oh, yeah.
If he had been of a later generation.
That's exactly right.
He just seemed like such a positive and happy guy.
100%. Always was positive. And it got, the last several years of his life from at least listening to Howard talk about it, I don't think it was very good for him, man, which bums me out. Bums me out a lot because he was a really positive. He was just everywhere when I was a kid. Everywhere.
And then on the other side, there were two who are very much queens of their business who we lost over the weekend. So, Paulie, if you would.
This is BBC News. We're interrupting our schedules for the following announcement. Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Her Majesty.
Just right back into it.
Let's start with the maybe less surprising one because she was 96 years old.
I thought she was already gone.
Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
When you told me that this morning, and it was the first I'd heard of it, and B, I thought that it had already happened, so I do apologize.
As growing up, when you're a kid, and Dr. Ruth is obviously talking about
sex,
awkward
you can say
subjects.
Yeah, sex.
All right,
it is 6 o'clock in the morning.
It feels like something you shouldn't be watching, but she seemed like such a nice lady. Every time she was talking about it, just wanted to make everybody comfortable and, talk about things openly and honestly and like way before her time,
now,
probably.
Same type of thing with Richard Simmons. She was also always around.
She was.
But when she was on the television and your parents were in the room, you got up and left the room because you did not want to hear anything about that with your parents in your vicinity, right?
True.
She had the funny voice, and what was her heritage?
Somewhere
German.
Eastern European, I'm sure. But Dr. Ruth,
yeah. And you're like, oh, you're the expert on all of this, okay? When I was a kid, I was like, she is.
I mean,
she is.
Just to have that of being just the leading expert in your field that everyone acknowledges.
Yes,
this is the person you go to.
Yeah.
If you are trying to have better relations with your partner, she's the one that can get you
get
right.
you going. Yeah, get you right.
96 years old, decades of being ahead in her field. And then the other one,
that's a cap tip. 96 years old, you tip your cap. That's
the other one, much too soon. Shannon Doherty, Beverly Hills 90210, 53 years old after a battle with cancer, passed away over the weekend. She was
Brenda
Walsh. on Beverly Hills 90210.
Loved her.
She started, so when the show started, she had just moved, the Walshes had moved from where? Like the
Minnesota.
Midwest, Minnesota.
Yep.
And she was kind of out of her element.
Correct.
At Beverly High.
And she took an interest in Dylan.
But then she became kind of the villain, the bad girl of 90210.
She went back and forth there, but she was always a favorite. 53, man, died of cancer. Really, really sad to think that the two of those co-stars from again our youth passed away at a really, really young age. In Luke Perry, he passed away years ago, which is so sad. But shout out to her family as well. Very, very sad story.
I've said it before. I was more of
Andrea.
No,
Andrea.
No, I actually.
No, you liked Andrea. It's
okay, fine.
Yeah,
who didn't like Andrea?
I liked Andrea. She was fine.
Jenny Garth though was.
Oh yeah. She's a little out of your league.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Little out of your league.
Yeah, Andrea. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, you and Andrea
have
made a great
with,
couple. A great couple. Gabrielle Carteris.
Right.
Yes.
Now, did she end up with David, who was the music guy?
No, Jenny Garth did.
She did.
Yeah.
Okay, I can forget. I sometimes forget how the relationships ended up.
Yeah.
On that show.
Sad. And there was another one that passed away that you said. I didn't.
Oh yeah, James B. Sicking, who was the dad in Doogie Howser and was on I think Hill Street Blues. You'd absolutely know if you don't know the name. You'd absolutely remember him.
You
Probably
saw the guy
from
everywhere.
Guest starring on a million TV shows in like the 80s and 90s and cop dramas and sitcoms all over the place. You'd absolutely remember him as well.
Yeah.
So it's sports, not entertainment. But Jacoby Jones passed away at 40 years
40,
old.
and they're not really saying.
They didn't say what happened. But
Super
they said
Bowl
he
star,
passed peacefully at home.
yeah, Baltimore Ravens, just 40 years old, but not really any explanation or details that had been.
When was that?
Given out just yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday morning.
That was kind of a shocker and a surprise as well. Obviously, just 40 years old. I don't think anyone had reported that there was any health issues or anything
He was
going
a Charger
on. But
for a year, right?
was he? I think.
Yep.
Did he? Yeah, came through at some point, but. Yeah, it was the way Paul, it was reported that he passed peacefully at home, like it was something that was expected, but it certainly wasn't something that, at least publicly, people knew anything was going on with Jacoby Jones.
All right, it's enough of the downer stuff. It's summer break, all right? Summer break. We're still here. We're still kicking, so let's have some fun. Talk some baseball, talk some home run derby next.
Yeah, we got Ray Crone in studio.
Ray
who,
is the GOAT, man.
He really is. I mean, we talk about Dr. Ruth, the leading expert in her field.
Yeah.
He's the leading expert in his field.
I mean, maybe one guy would disagree with him, but we'll talk about that.
Yes.
You'll have to hear this story.
All right, we'll get to that coming up. Quick timeout. More Ben and Woods coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elston, and Gwen and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza.
We're doing one this week.
We are.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
On the during the All-Star break.
Yes. We'll talk about what happened over these next 3 days.
Got to break down that All-Star game for an hour.
Can't lose any more games, at least this week. Until Friday, at least, for your San Diego
So we're going to
Padres.
do a round table this week.
That's right.
Makes sense.
Previewing the second half of the season.
Oh, love the preview.
Well, I mean, it's really whatever direction I take it.
Didn't you just do that like 2 weeks ago?
No, that was
the
looking
actual
back. That was looking
half?
back at the first half of the season. Now we look ahead to the second half of the season.
Sounds good.
Or not. I don't know. Maybe
We've been in the second half of the
maybe
season.
we won't
for
talk
like
baseball
2
at all.
weeks.
We'll have a completely baseball-free Padres Roundtable.
Yeah, we'll
Summer
do it.
break Roundtable edition.
Fine by me.
You know, you asked me one of the things that I look forward to in summer break and really all year long. But one thing I loved was going out and my dad throwing batting practice to me. We'd go out to the field all the time. And he was, I thought, one of the better batting practice pitchers out there. Seemed like he could, throw forever. And to me and my brother, and usually, I mean, I could probably count on one hand the number of times he actually hit me accidentally in batting practice.
Yeah,
It was
probably on
pretty good.
purpose. Yeah.
But I don't know. He probably did throw inside occasionally to test me. How was Gary at batting
Amazing.
practice?
Incredible.
Good too?
Yeah, could throw. My dad could throw BP for hours. And I think what killed him, and he just had Tommy John like 3 months ago, was the pop flies. He would go all the way down to the ground,
Throw
and
him up in
as
the air.
high as he could throw them. And now guess who likes him? My 6-year-old. So now mine's barking, and I'm like, how did my
What
dad...
about a fungo? Can you fungo it?
Not in the middle of the street.
No.
Fungo straight up in the air. I mean, you'd have to be
Windows and things,
Tim
cars and
Tim
everything.
Flannery would have a tough time fungoing him up that in that close of quarters. But yeah, man, my dad was a great BP until I met Ray.
Yes, and
thought
joining
I
us
knew.
after our check of traffic is the guy who is pretty much acknowledged, certainly here in San Diego, but really in baseball circles, as the best BP pitcher around. We'll talk to Ray.
Word gets around.
Yes, it does. Right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, some tough stuff on northbound 805, a collision just before Balboa to the center divide. Then just up ahead before Claremont Mesa Boulevard, got another crash. This one involved several vehicles. Looks like this one is in the center divide as well. Also traveling on northbound 15 at El Norte Parkway off-ramp. There is a collision over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I first met our next guest, Woods, when I was doing Padres pre- and post-game show in the early 2000s. And, I'd be at the ballpark several hours early before it was open up to the public, and I'd get to see Padres players taking batting practice. And there was always this same guy who was out there throwing BP for hours on end to Padres players. And Ray Crone is with us here. Ray, welcome. Thank you for coming in studio with us today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell us kind of the story of how you got involved first with the San Diego Padres throwing BP, because you weren't a professional baseball player or coach
Not
or
even
anything.
close.
So
Not
this
even
is
close.
This is kind of weird how this all kind of came to be.
So there's a few different stories behind it. So I was showing you guys earlier, Padres Fantasy Camp. I met Norm Sherry, and he coached Buddy Black in the 80s up at Giants. So that was one guy working for me. And then I was throwing a Tony Gwynn in his camps up there at State, along with all the pros before they go to spring training.
Now, how do you get the gig throwing for Tony Gwynn, though?
So I would go up there, and one of my students that I had at Valhalla was actually going up there on Tuesday nights to the hitting camp, and I said, "Well, I got to check this out."
Sure.
So I checked it out, and I just didn't say a word. So started shagging, and then I go, "You need any throwers?" He goes, "Yeah, go ahead." So, and then
Tony's like, "I like the cut of your jib right there."
Tony goes, "Just throw," and then I'd throw for the whole camp. It'd be like from 4 o'clock on to 8.
Oh,
And
my
we were just
God.
loving it. All the kids. There was like 85 kids out there.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
And everyone needs their
It was
reps.
so much fun. And that's how the assistants would get paid on the side when they do their camps.
Yeah.
Because unpaid assistants, of course, there's only 3, Tony and Mark Martinez and Rusty at the time. And that was it. And then I think what really it worked was Brian Giles was on the team, and his old high school baseball coach and I are really good friends. We went to the same high school together at different times. And he couldn't throw to Brian in the offseason in January. His whole schedule changed. So I came out to El Cap, threw to him. He liked what I saw. So first game of the season, they're home. They call me, come on down. So Merv was the hitting coach, and he's the best still. I still talk to him every day. And came down. Merv goes, let me see what you got. I threw like 6 pitches in the cage. He goes, okay, let's go. And then I threw to David Wells, Greg Maddox, Jake Peavy, and Chris Young was my first group. And I went, oh, my God.
The pitchers group.
The pitchers group. Yeah, the pitchers group when they were hitting back in the day. And then the second group was Adrian, Brian, Marcus, and I think it was Mike Cameron in that group. So
Bro,
it's
so nerve-wracking to play baseball at any level, but it's also really nerve-wracking to play in front of pros. And to now, not only are you like showing them what you got, but you're actually trying to get them prepared for a game, a real game. These guys are millionaires and the whole thing. And yeah, man, it's just BP. You're not throwing sliders and cutters. You're just trying to get them locked in for the game. But I've been fortunate enough to hit his batting practice before. It's unbelievable. I mean, Woodsy, you want it up, out, low and away, and just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, the skill set, Ray, is it's basically a combination of precision and stamina. Right, that makes a truly great batting practice pitcher.
Yes.
You can put it where they want it to be, whether they want it low, high, inside, outside, and do that consistently, and then do it on end over and over again for hours without your arm falling off, essentially.
Yeah.
And you just have this skill.
Where
did it come from?
Yeah, I was a middle infielder, so second base, so I didn't have to throw that far anyways, which was nice. But as my son was growing up, I'd throw to his little league team, and then when he went to high school at Valhalla, I went over to the varsity team because I was watching BP, and they had a kid throw. It's like, oh, this isn't that good.
Yeah, this isn't good.
I said, well, you need one? Oh, you any good? I'd say, if you don't like me, don't worry. It's after 5 minutes. So I got lucky. I coached Greg Garcia and Drew Garcia at Valhalla and all that. So I was just able to always throw it. But when you're down at the stadium, boy, it's a different feel.
100%.
The adrenaline's flowing. And, I would throw to 2 groups every day. But after the first group, the first time, I was done.
Really?
It's like walking 18 holes of golf.
Yeah.
You're spent after that because you're just emotionally in it. But then as you do it every day, you build up your stamina. But I would never lift weights. I would always do band work and swim all the time. That's all I would ever do.
No, that's how you took care of your arm.
That's how
just
I took
the
care of
Jaeger bands.
That's it.
Okay.
And do long toss with David Eckstein every 3 days.
That's amazing.
And he would throw from line to line. I couldn't get it.
No,
Mine would be rolling.
6 hopper.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, at least.
So I would just be able to throw all the time. I absolutely loved it, though. I don't think a lot of guys actually love throwing BP.
I hate it.
And I love throwing. I love throwing to the kids, the adults. They're all the same. And Merv, we would do lessons after he retired, and he'd say the same things to the kids he would say to the pros. Like with Mark Sweeney, he goes, hey, that's the only swing you got. You might want to take that up there. Just lines like that. It's so funny. I asked Dave Roberts once. I know he's your favorite.
He's my favorite.
I love him.
Yeah, I love him too. Hope he stays forever.
Yeah, we threw to him in his backyard with Mike Sweeney, Mark Sweeney. All the guys would come out. And I asked Dave one time, what makes Merv so good? He goes, even when you have no chance on getting a hit, Merv thinks he gives you a chance.
Merv thinks he gives you a chance.
Yeah, he gives you a chance by saying something positive.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. You need that. I need that. I need the positive
That's
reinforcement.
basically all what happens behind the scenes.
That's
that
amazing.
looks good. And
Ray,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say. So Ray Cronin's with us, and you're so good at this, and you do it for the Padres for several years that at some point you actually get invited to throw at the Home Run Derby. For Adrian Gonzalez in 2009, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And tell us about that story. First of all, you just shared it with us. Just getting to the game, which was in St. Louis. But the Padres wrapped up the first half of the season on Sunday in
San Francisco,
the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So it's simple, right? You fly from San Francisco to St. Louis.
Yeah,
that's easy, right?
We didn't get on that charter flight that Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain was on. Because Adrian was actually playing and they weren't, so they took off early. So we had a few flight malfunctions. So we finally ended up in Indianapolis, and Adrian, Heath Bell, and Adrian's wife Betsy, we all rented a van and drove. Adrian drove the 3.5 hours to St. Louis
through the night. Now
Heath and we're all up. Heath and I are fired up.
Yeah,
this is our first All-Star game. Because he asked Heath, how many All-Star? Heath goes, "This is
this the one where he slid into the mountain?"
No,
that was the next
a year
one.
After, a year after that. It was so funny. So Heath and I were having a blast. We talked the whole way through, no music or anything. But by the time we got to St. Louis, it's like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So I took pictures. I didn't know what to do for Adrian for thanking him, but on the lines of that, I said, you can ask Dave Gonzalez, your high school baseball coach, to throw to you. He goes, yeah, but he can't go. So will you go? I said, I'd be honored to throw to you.
100%.
So it's like, okay, so we get there early, and Milt Thompson's the hitting coach of the Phillies because they won it the year before, so their whole staff is there. And I said to Milt, First I ran to Davey Lopes, and I said, hey, you bring your BP guys. He goes, no, we didn't. So I got to throw to Adrian's group, which consisted of Adrian, Prince Fielder, Brian McCann, Jason Worth, and Ryan Zimmerman. It's like,
good
wow.
Lord.
So this is fun. So I threw to them for a few times before we got to the home run hitting contest. So I was like, okay, I'm not nervous anymore. I'm more excited.
Yeah.
So I was like, the adrenaline's like, but it's so much fun. St. Louis fans are incredible.
But Adrian was cashed.
He was done. Yeah,
he was cashed.
We were throwing right before because you get some time with Adrian or whoever's going to throw to each guy. You get some time, and there's no pop coming off the bat, and I'm like going, oh, this could be bad.
So he hit how many?
2.
Oh.
But that was after Brandon Inge only hit 0, so we got better than that.
So Inge hit 0. Adrian, now did you take any grief for him only hitting 2?
Oh yeah.
From him?
Still to the not from, well,
No.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So the following year, he's in the home run hitting contest at the end. He's in the finals against.
He got the finals against
Cano.
Cano. Yeah.
I text him, hey, nice job. He goes, it's nice to get strikes.
Unbelievable!
Oh, it's the best.
What a monster!
It was the best.
We had Brett Boone on last Wednesday, and he was telling us about the year that he put up a goose egg, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "It was my pitcher."
Yeah, my pitcher.
I didn't have my guy. I had to go ask Dave Valley.
Dave
who was
Valley,
there,
and he said
and
Valley
he
was-
couldn't throw anything. He was throwing me sliders.
Cutters.
It's like Mark McGuire throwing to Flannery.
And then remember the year Will Myers had his brother.
Yeah.
And he hit him.
And he hit him.
And he hit him.
That was bad. So you must watch the home run derby with an extra
I do.
keen eye on the pitchers.
Yeah, I do. I
How
watch the
much do you
pitcher.
think that really does impact?
So
Obviously,
much.
the hitters is a big thing, but if the pitchers aren't there, how big of an impact is that on the outcome?
Well, now it's more of an impact because it's time. When
Yes.
Adrian and I did it, it wasn't time. But what he did, he thought it was BP. He hit every pitch. I go, you can take a pitch. Because Prince would hit 2 and take 5 pitches.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't take it. It's like, take a pitch. And he hit one off the L screen and went, oh, this isn't going to be good. And then, as soon as we got back, KT walks through the clubhouse. God love KT. And he just looks at me and goes, nice job.
It's a nightmare, man.
Oh.
But when they announce, now, San Diego Padres, Adrian Gonzalez, and you got to walk your ass out to that mound, and there's that bucket. You never. But why don't batting practice guys ever use a glove? I can't throw BP unless I have a glove on.
So I used to do it, and then I say, well, it's easier to hold 3 balls in one hand and just keep going because it's repetition.
Boom. Yep.
Especially down here at the ballpark, they got an hour to hit.
Yep.
So it's more repetition. It's like, how fast can you go? But some guys like it really slow. Depends on who the guy is.
So, Ray, how hard do you throw?
63 at best back in the day.
So
That's
people
BS.
wonder
I faced him, dude.
No,
I
but
faced
people
him.
wonder why is that preparation? But you're not throwing from the mound; you're throwing from a lot closer.
Did you have
So-
an estimate of what that comped to for them game speed?
They said it was low 90s. I don't know. It's all timing.
You'll see that in the Little League World Series. They're throwing from 48 feet or whatever, and the kid's throwing 60 miles an hour.
But
And
it's 95.
equivalent of 98 or something. In the
I've
big
hit
leagues.
BP off Ray, and he's heating it in there.
Well,
dude.
it looks like it is.
It is. He's right on top of you, and you're like, oh god, oh god. It's nerve wracking.
Well, it looks like it is because in the home run hitting contest, when Adrian was there, the other guys were lobbing it in, and I was throwing. It's like, because I asked Adrian, you want me to change anything? He goes, don't change a thing.
No.
Be firm. It's like, but he didn't have the turtle over the head. So
he needed the shell
it's
over
a
him.
different feel.
And you're just by yourself.
You're by
Everyone,
yourself. You're by
stadium's
yourself.
full.
Everyone
you're not
watching
used
on
to taking
TV.
BP in a full stadium. It's usually an empty
is
stadium.
full, and the crowd is into it, and you're more excited than anything. I was more excited. So maybe I was throwing 64, 65, but it was a lot of fun. Adrian, Trevor Hoffman was there when he was with the Brewers, so he got voted. So he threw my stuff in a locker next to him, so I got to be a locker mates with Trevor and Josh Johnson, the big donkey from Miami back in the day, and he just treated me so well, and it was a great experience.
So you mentioned the L screen, the net that batting practice pitchers have right in front of them with a little cutout where the ball comes from that protects you.
Yes.
Is it still somewhat intimidating, though? The best hitters in the world are 45, 50 feet ahead of you and taking full swings. You've got that net, but those balls are rifling out of there.
Yeah, Chuck and Duck.
I've checked every ballpark I went to. And to this day, I check the net before I throw.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
yeah.
squirts through the bottom and gets that ankle or
Oh,
something.
I've
Yeah.
been hitting the back, on the eye and the side when it was a ricochet, and it's like, what just happened? Ricky Renteria, he was throwing BP once, and he likes getting his head out.
Yeah.
Before, and he got clocked right in the mouth.
And they hit really hard, guys. All right, so tonight you got Pete Alonso, who's won it twice. You got Alec Boehm,
This
first
is his
timer.
World Series.
Yeah. This is Pete Alonso's World Series. You got Adolis Garcia, who he's just
If he gets hot,
If he gets hot,
it's over.
Gunnar Henderson, who is just a stud. He's a stud. I actually put a little money on Gunnar. Bobby Witt Jr., Jose Ramirez, who I love, Marcelo Zuna, and Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers, who's a pretty prolific home run hitter in his own right. The even money is basically Pete Alonso. He's done it. He knows exactly how to win it. He's got a swing that's tailor-made for it. I'm so easily swayed. I read something that Gunnar Henderson prepares for this like he prepares for everything. Hard. Very, very hard. So I said, all right, I'll take my chances on him. He's like plus 400 to win it. But
did you study who's throwing the pitches?
I did
we
not.
just found out that that's just as important.
I have no idea. But, I think you have to go I don't think you can go the sentimental route like Will Myers did. I think that's where he blew it. I think, yeah, it'd be cool as hell to have my dad throw. I'm not having my dad out there. I'm not having Ben out there with me. I'm having somebody I trust.
Well, Robin Cano, he had his dad throw.
He had his dad.
It worked out the one year, but the next year he put up a goose
It was
egg.
awful.
So you never know.
Bryce Harper had his pops doing it. Yeah.
He's a stud.
And he looked like he's done it
I got
lot.
my money on Garcia tonight because he's hometown kid, and he's as strong as anybody.
He is a bull.
So Ray, who took like the best batting practice? The guy that was consistently the best, at least before the game, just in the pure swings that he took in the cage.
Are you talking home runs or just base hits?
I mean, just whatever your impression of. Like, this guy just took the best BP.
Russell the Muscle
Besides me.
Russell the Muscle Branyan was the most impressive. We're up in Colorado, and he's hitting bombs at the top deck. He was the most impressive. But it's funny.
It doesn't always translate against the
Definitely
breaking
not.
balls and the sliders
No.
that they have to face in the game.
But in the offseason, I would throw to Adam Jones. First pitch I'd throw to him, low and away, he hit it like it was nothing. I go, okay, you're ready for spring training. Some
one
guys
and done.
are just that good.
Yeah.
Fall out of bed and they can hit.
Yeah, I don't know if he might have been a little before you started throwing to the Padres, but Ruben Rivera always was the king of batting practice, and then could never do it during the games. It was
530 hitter.
so frustrating. You go watch this guy. He put on a show, and you go, this guy's getting an all-star. This Hall of Famer,
So you
for sure.
You throw to Tony, too?
I used to throw to Tony Jr.
Tony Jr.
Junior. I millions of pitches to Junior. Millions.
That's incredible, man. I like the guys that are like, I'm gonna get, I'm working, because every hitter you want to go oppo, just oppo is where I want to live. I want to live in batting practice. But then the guys, it's like, I got 5 more swings, and they just tattoo them out of the yard.
Well, the last round that you throw to each guy. So when we had Matt Stairs here in 2010, his last would be 7 in a row in the right deck.
God, it's incredible
because that's what he did pinch in.
Yeah,
Anyways.
yeah, just turn it on.
He was awesome. But
That's amazing,
Most guys
man.
would work on their craft the first few rounds.
Well, and now tonight, I'm going to be watching the throwers. Now that
Oh,
we
yeah,
had
me
Ray
too.
in today,
Me
I'm going to
too.
be watching the throwers, and we'll grade them tomorrow.
Last thing before you go, I mentioned it earlier that my dad had only hit me a handful of times in BP. What was the worst you ever felt? You must have hit guys over the years.
I put Ryan Ludwig on his back. Didn't hit him.
Hey, you don't
but
feel
put
that
him
bad.
on his back.
Yeah, don't feel that
He
bad
probably
about that
deserved
one.
it, actually.
No, then he hit a home run the next one, so I was good.
All
But
right,
no,
all
I
right.
put him on. It's like, the ball slipped because they're slippery. It's
Yeah,
like-
they are.
I went, oh God.
Oh, no.
This is the end of my career.
Yep, that'll do it.
was
Ray,
it.
that was awesome, man.
Ray, thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for coming
in.
in,
Love those
Ray.
stories. That's fantastic. That's what our summer break is all about. Ray Crone, everybody, a long time batting practice pitcher extraordinaire, in with Ben and Woods this morning.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to come back. We got our final hour. Paulie's got some headlines in the Rindle Report. See what else is going on. It actually was a fairly busy sports weekend, so we'll see what grab Paulie's attention when we come back. Final hour, and then Annie and Elston at 10 o'clock. Don't go anywhere as we continue on a Monday morning. Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
What was the going rate, Ben or Paul, for the Tooth Fairy in your house? Do you remember?
I think it started with like $2 and then went up to $5 by the end.
$5 was max.
Yeah, I think that was like the max.
$5. Yeah.
I think mine was a $5 or a $10. We had our first tooth last night that was lost. $20.
Yeah, I remember
$20.
I remember when Bo came in last week showing me he had the loose tooth. So
Wrong,
it finally came out.
Different tooth.
Wasn't the loose tooth that
No,
came
this
out.
one was more user error, father error.
Taylor punch him?
This was so trippy. Last night, I'm getting him ready for. He's getting in the shower, and I'm like, come on, let's go. Like he don't want to. So I pulled his shirt up off him, and he started crying. I go, what? The top of the shirt got his front loose tooth, and whoop, pulled it straight out.
Oh,
straight out.
Kind of like the string on the door.
Yeah,
except,
but it was like the string on
a shirt
on this pajamas. That were like kind of tight anyway, so I was like squeezing him over his head, and
did he even know it happened, or did it?
No, that hurt me. I'm like, I didn't hurt. I didn't do anything. He's bleeding, and I'm like, Hannah, was that tooth loose? She's like, yes, it was loose.
You didn't
already.
pull a
I didn't
fully
pull a
attached tooth
God,
out.
I was terrified. Then he started looking at it in the mirror. It was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. So he kind of looks like a hard ass. And but now he's going to lose that other one this week too. So yeah, fresh 20 from the Tooth Fairy.
People are incredulous at a $20 number on a tooth nowadays.
I mean, listen, guys, it's 2024.
I mean,
what are we talking about here?
I know I'm Cat Colonel budget, but let me ask Tier 1s out there. How much would you want to sell your tooth for right now?
How much?
20 seems a little light. If I asked you for your front tooth, I'd think you'd want several thousand for that.
$50,000 for my front tooth. $50,000. Walk around like, I mean, forget it. Yeah, and then the little one was really, really freaked out by the whole scene, and was like, he kept saying, "I'm gonna see the Tooth Fairy tonight. I'm gonna get up out of bed." And I said, "If you
capture the Tooth Fairy,
I said, if you stay in bed, maybe the Tooth Fairy will leave you a little something." And apparently, the Tooth Fairy left him a $5.
Yeah.
$5 for doing nothing. Just doing nothing. Just laying in bed, not getting out of bed.
Like a borrow against future teeth lost, perhaps?
At the end of the day, guys, so everyone's yelling at
I just
me.
went to the U.S. inflation calculator.
Well, hold on, look. Okay, so let me show you my wallet. I had a 20, I had a 5, and I had 5 singles. Okay? So the 5 went to the little one. Allegedly, the Tooth Fairy takes the money from me. And then I had, what was I going to give him, 5 singles? It's a strip club.
I mean, so few people carry cash nowadays. That's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
With the Tooth Fairy.
Right.
Because then you could run to the ATM, but all they have are 20s and 100s.
He said to me last night, he goes, you know what would be a good way to make money? Is if you just keep putting the same tooth under the... I go, I think the Tooth Fairy knows, genius. She's going to know because you're only missing one.
The Tooth Fairy takes the tooth.
Yeah, Tooth Fairy takes the tooth.
And then it
in a zip-
disappears.
I also learned that the Tooth Fairy now prefers it in a Ziploc bag.
Not just loose
Not
under
just
the
loose
pillow.
under the pillow.
Well, that makes sense. It's more sanitary that way.
Somebody said kids take Apple Pay now. Yeah, it's just Apple Pay.
Venmo.
So,
Because
yeah.
I think I was
Your
like
Zelle
$5
account
a
now
tooth.
has another $5 in it.
I think I was
Fairy.
a 5, and I do want to say because my mom's very generous. I think I got a 10 one time, and I was pretty stoked.
See, I was,
First tooth though,
when I was
$20.
6 years old, that would have been 1996.
Okay.
So a $20.
Well, do mine.
$20 now. I'm getting there. So $20 now for a tooth would have been $10 in 1996.
Okay.
And then so
Call it
1981.
81.
Yeah.
That would bring us to be a $5.79
All right, so
transaction.
20 is
right.
not as
20 is not as
unreasonable.
unreasonable.
Little generous, but not ridiculously so.
Right. And now I'm like, should I have left him 30?
You know,
Or
like our
should-
parents, they'd be lucky to get a quarter.
Oh my God!
Back
right?
in the day.
Literally a quarter. Cool. Thanks. And make a phone call. Kids these days, my friend. Oh, it's great. All right, Paulie, take us away.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Paulie Squirrely in the chat said, I got a $1 silver certificate bill. I should have left him a savings bond.
Treasury note.
Here's a bond for $4.
So I think my aunt once gave me like $100 savings bond.
Yeah.
Which
Where is it?
I
threw
thought,
away.
I didn't realize. I assumed, that's worth $100 and it's going to be worth more. No. That'll be worth $100 in 20 years if you hold on to it. That's what $100 savings bond means.
My grandparents.
Right now, it's only worth like $4.
I think I used to sell them to my dad for like 10%. My grandparents used to wrap those up. Oh, cool, $50 savings bond and cash it out in 2020.
Has anyone ever made it all the way through?
Who's going to hold on to it for that long? You know how much bond money's floating around out there?
Lost.
What a scam.
God, that was a scam.
What a scam.
Oh, man. All right, gentlemen. Baseball, a little bit on hold right now, All-Star break, but we do have a couple of stories here for you from the weekend. It was not that long ago, like last week. I think I had a story. Colton Brewer, I think was the name, the Cubs pitcher that broke his hand for punching the dugout wall, and he was out for a while after that. And now we have Dane Myers has entered the chat. Marlins outfielder broke his ankle after kicking a door in their loss to the Reds this weekend.
Broke his ankle?
Said on Sunday that he fractured his ankle after he angrily kicked a door. He's played in 40 games for the Marlins this year. He was ejected on Saturday night in the 8th inning, arguing with the umpire, and he was still hot, kicked a door.
Skip's going to take up smoking or something.
Yeah, for real. Just like this team, bro. What is he doing during the break right now?
Says, I took a swipe at the door with my foot, and I didn't think I kicked it that hard, but I fractured my foot.
40 games up in the big leagues, too. I mean, you just never know. You never know if your spot's waiting for you when you get back after 40 games in the show, man. It's just... They were talking about last night, they're talking about Sean Reynolds, how he got called up to the bigs with the Marlins. He's so excited. He gets your first call up. 3 days left. You're like, ooh, I'm definitely going to get it. The Marlins, I'm getting in the game. Nothing. Goes down, struggles, finally gets the call up. It's been 3 days since he's been...
Reynolds here.
Yeah, Moonlight, 100%. And it had been 3 days. You're going into the All-Star break. You're like... I don't know if I'm ever going to see the field. And when they call him in, call him up, and now he's one of the 21,000 or whatever that's gotten a chance to do it. So that's tough luck, man. It's good lesson. Good lesson.
Oh, yeah. And then
learn the hard way.
Got some more baseball news. 2 notes here for Ben's Los Angeles Dodgers. So Yamamoto was transferred to the 60-day IL. So that is
that wasn't the Dodger injury news that caught my eye over the weekend.
I'm guessing it's this next one.
Yes.
Big, tall left-hander Dustin May.
Right-hander. Nasty right-hander. Yes.
Excuse me. He getting ready to do a rehab assignment, I think, was what everyone for the Dodgers was excited about. He was finally going to start working on coming back and returning to the rotation, but he's going to miss the rest of this year. He had surgery to repair an esophageal.
That's not
tear.
that's not an arm injury.
His throat.
It's not like a meniscus in the knee. Oh. The esophagus is the tube that goes from your throat to your stomach. I don't know where it was torn or
so I'm reading
how you would tear that.
Jeff Passan wrote on ESPN, the injury, sources said, first appeared during a dinner and required intervention after May sought attention the next day for pain in his throat and stomach. Medical personnel diagnosed the tear in May's throat and acted quickly. He's expected to make a full recovery, but he will be out all year long.
Sew it back together?
Surgery on your esophagus.
I mean, you definitely don't want things getting through that aren't supposed to be, you want that tube to be intact.
You want it to be solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever eat too fast and swallow?
Yes.
And you're like, oh,
and
God,
it feels like
God. Yeah, it's
You're not choking.
No, but it's just taking a while.
But you can feel like it's stuck a little bit there.
Yeah.
You can
what
breathe.
do they say? 27 times.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's ever
good
done
at that. Yeah. I like 1, 2, swallow.
Yeah, me too.
1, 2, swallow.
Save that. Save it forever and ever.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, Carlos says, I once had a tortilla chip that scraped the whole way down. Yeah, chips will get you.
I think I just need to stop talking.
I think so. You've given us a lot of good gold today.
Then finally got a story here about a teacher in India who lost his job because there was an app on his phone that was running, monitoring what he was doing with his phone. And he got in a little bit of trouble.
From?
Like the district was able to monitor on his school-issued phone.
School gives him a phone. He downloads a certain app. And they say, no, you can't use that app.
Right.
What was it?
I'll tell you. It's not what you were thinking.
Oh.
So here's how
One,
it
two,
worked
swallow.
out. This man was a teacher at a government school in India, and he was suspended because of what they found when they monitored his work phone. And the reason they monitored his phone first was because the district magistrate went to his school and to his class in particular because the scores on the tests for his students were so bad that they go, something's got to be wrong here. Like there was 9 pages of tests and there were mistakes all over every single page for every student. They go, what the hell is going on in this classroom? So they wanted to dig in a little bit and look into it. And they said, let's see. He was 5.5 hours of school time is what he was responsible for.
Okay.
In those 5.5 hours, they found that he spent nearly 2.5 hours playing Candy Crush.
When he's supposed to be teaching. Oh, my God.
He spent 26 minutes on the phone talking, and then he used social media apps for another 30 minutes.
So a good hour 45 of teaching, and the rest was just
3
playing on
hours
his phone the
playing on his
entire
phone.
time.
Oh,
Yes.
man, I'm guilty.
You don't, you know
The
what?
magistrate
You should
checked 6 pages of 6 pages of 6 students' copies of their tests, spotted 95 mistakes.
Good God.
never accept a work issued phone.
I never would.
Yeah,
No, I never would.
You know what? Here's a phone that you can use
No,
free
I'll
from
choose my
our
own.
workplace.
No.
I'll just use my own.
I'll use
It's
my
fine.
own. You don't want to, it's not your business. It's my business.
Wouldn't you rather just have your company pay you
Reimburse
a stipend
you a little bit,
every
yeah.
month
Yes,
towards your phone
a
bill?
stipend would be lovely, actually. A stipend would be great.
Like instead of just use this phone, because you're still going to use your main phone, like your personal phone.
I had a work computer at one time, and I wouldn't carry dual laptops on the road with me, so I rolled the dice.
Really? You
Yeah,
did?
Yeah. You think you delete it, but you don't. I never gotten any.
Nothing ever is totally lost.
Right.
There's always ways to recover
Now
things.
you have a work computer.
I do have
bet
a work
it's
computer.
very safe.
I
Very.
have one.
You have a work computer from here? Oh, how do you guys get those? I didn't get any.
Mine's from my other job.
Oh.
Paulie's is probably from this job.
Yes.
And you just didn't get one at all.
And you don't roll the dice on that one.
Because no one trusts you, apparently.
That's fair.
I don't play Candy Crush.
No, I don't either. Thank you, Paulie. 1, 2, swallow.
Nice job, as always, Paulie, on the Rundle Report. All right, we've got a couple of segments left. There actually were quite a bit of other things going on in the world of sports that even Paulie didn't get to that I wouldn't mind recapping a little bit if we have some time here coming up. So we'll do that. It's our summer break. It's Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us. Let's check traffic with Kelly and be back with more right after this on 97.3 The Fan. Got some good news just in time for our summer break. Saw yesterday on their social media account that our friends at Virgin are going to be releasing the third batch of the Tier 1 Pale Ale this Friday.
Yes, indeed, my
our
friend.
Ben Woods collaboration beer that we went in and helped develop the first time around.
Got our hands right there in
the hops.
In the hops and the barley
malt.
and the malt. I was integral in the production of it.
You were?
Yeah, integral.
But whatever we did, it came out really well, and people love the Tier 1 Pale Ale. So
the can alone is spectacular, and it still is a trip to have our own beer, and we'll never get old. And they're re-releasing it again. When? Friday. Yes.
Friday at all their tasting rooms. Carlsbad, they got the Arbor downtown. They've got the new one up in Escondido. I may be missing even another one.
The Oasis.
Oasis.
I'm never drinking against, but I hope you guys
after your weekend.
Not weekend, one
just
day.
One day, Thursday.
Night. Yeah.
Did you actually not even have another drink the entire weekend after that?
Water and Gatorade.
That's it.
That's it.
Didn't go to either of the second or third shows.
I
you were
saw
gonna go
what
to.
I needed to see. It's fine.
Which I told you at the very
I
start.
know.
You don't need to go 3 straight days.
You were right. Once was enough. I'm good. So you guys enjoy that as much as you like. More for you.
So anyway, looking forward to that.
Yes.
On Friday. Had some other sporting events over the weekend. It's very busy in the European segment. I had the Wimbledon final yesterday, which was a pretty good matchup. I like waking up on Sunday morning and there's already sporting events underway.
Save that.
Save that.
Yeah.
Just popped on my phone and was going to the
1,
third
2,
set.
swallow.
Going to the third set already between Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz.
That kid's good.
Yeah, I mean, Djokovic is 24 major titles. Obviously, he's kind of the GOAT when it comes to Grand Slams. But now, Alcaraz, after winning in straight sets, he's already got 4. He's 21 years old.
21 years old, man.
He's got 2 Wimbledons, got French Open. He's one of 6 guys to win both in the same year because he won the French earlier this year.
It's incredible.
It's a big ask to say that he could ever approach what Djokovic and Federer and Nadal have done, but
he's on the right path.
He's certainly on the pace with 4 at the age of 21, and he's just got all the shots. I mean, he was the drop shots, the serves, the returns, all over the court. He seems to be a mix of like all the great players together.
Yep.
He's kind of got the look and just
kind
seems
of got the look.
He's got the look. He's got some
yes.
charisma. So, tennis has been looking kind of for the next star. They found it on the men's side.
Yep.
There hasn't been an American star in so long.
We're so used
like
to
Pete
it now.
Sampras and Andre Agassi. We're like a decade and a half since those guys were really relevant and in their prime, and it's been a long time. Even on the women's side, there's some women's players, but nothing like Serena and Venus when they were in their heyday. Now it's kind of split. I mean, you get kind of random winners like Barbara Krejcikova, who won the 31st seed, one on the women's side. There's really no dominant players. But on the men's side, Alcaraz has a chance to really be a special player and someone that people are going to pay attention to for years to come. And then I had the Scottish Open yesterday in golf, which was a pretty cool scene because no one from Scotland had actually won the Scottish Open in 25 years. And Robert McIntyre, who is the lefty from Scotland, was trailing in the final round and then just charged on the back nine. An incredible eagle on 16 to tie for the lead with Adam Scott, who's not from Scotland. He's just a Scot.
Right.
And then made a birdie on the last hole, and everyone goes crazy, nuts, to see the countryman win the Scottish Open and set up what should be a good week this week. The Open Championship at Royal Troon, the final golf major of the year, gets underway early Thursday, our time. A lot of little pot bunkers and everything you get about links-style golf. Yeah, they said the weather was really nice in Scotland. There was very little wind this week at the Scottish Open. Yeah, temperatures were still in the 50s.
Right.
This is summer. Summer, and they were saying the good weather, and it was like 58 degrees, and that was good for Scotland in the summer.
Good God.
So, yeah, weather can always be a big factor when it comes to the Open Championship
Yeah, it's
this
one
week.
of my favorites to watch. I mean, it's just vast, vast views and the gnarly vegetation that they have, the bunkers, the gorse, yeah.
And the just the long hay that they got to hit out of it.
Oh, my God. Nightmare, dude. It's a
Ball
total
just
nightmare.
runs and rolls forever.
I mean, I look at those courses, I'm like, I'd shoot 140.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd lose 3 dozen balls. I mean, it's just, It's what makes those guys amazing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that this week, too.
So that'll be kind of fun.
You'll get some golf talk on summer break, for sure.
Well, hopefully.
That's what it's for.
That's what golf is. Yeah, summer break is a great time for golf all over the place, which is great. So, I watched a little tennis and golf yesterday, and then obviously Padres are off until Friday, and we talked about it earlier, but really tough road trip to start the second half of the season coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, you better use this rest time. But there's no, kind of slowly getting into gear in the second half.
No.
Because with the Guardians, Nationals, and the Orioles as the first 3 series coming out of the break, as you mentioned, Woods, earlier in the show, you come out and you go 2-7. Well, all of a sudden, you're burying yourself in the wild card race.
Well,
you can't afford a slow start to the second half of the season now.
All those teams, too, that we were leaving for dead, they're not dead. Turns out they didn't die. They have gotten rejuvenated, Ben, and I'm talking about the Mets. The Diamondbacks look like they were going to definitely suffer from the World Series hangover, and there's a lot of teams kind of clawing right now. And look, it makes it interesting. It makes it exciting, but you've got to put up wins. That's what you have to do. You can't worry about what these other teams are doing. You need to win ball games, man. It's going to be insane. Was there a trade in baseball
this morning?
No, there was a trade a couple days ago.
There was Hunter
Harvey.
Hunter Harvey. The Nationals seem to be throwing up the white flag a little bit.
Yes.
Which maybe helps as the Padres do have that series in Washington coming up.
Yeah, and he went to the Royals. Royals are going to, they're going to try to make a push, man.
But on the other side, the Padres have 6 games against the Pirates still coming up in August, and I thought they might be a team that waves the white flag, but they just swept the White Sox over the weekend, did what they were supposed to do. They're back at 500.
Yep.
They're just a half game behind the Padres and Diamondbacks. We're just a game behind the Mets. We're just a game and a half behind the Cardinals. So it's really bunched up, and the Padres will have to face some of these teams down the stretch in the second half of the season, including maybe a Pirates team that, they're putting their owner to the test here.
They really are.
You're in it. You're 500. You're a game and a half out of a playoff spot. What are you going to do? Because your instinct is, let's sell players, let's save money, let's get more prospects. But at some point, you got to go the other way. Give your fans a reason to come to the ballpark.
That's exactly right. And with Paul Skeens on the team, I know Jared Jones is on the IL right now. There's a reason to go to be a Pittsburgh Pirates fan right now. And if you're Bob Nutting, you cannot at all wave the white flag. You just can't. You have to kind of go for it.
Speaking of Skeens, you weren't here on Friday, but it was named the All-Star starter. Your thoughts on?
Can't wait.
Yeah, I think that's.
Are you kidding me? If you
pretty easy call.
If you don't like that, then I don't know if you like baseball. He is just as fun to watch as anybody I've seen in the last 25 years.
It gives you appointment viewing in the first inning. Paulie and I talked about this on Friday. Chris Sale would have been a logical choice, but he's not pitching because he pitched yesterday. Ranger Suarez had a good first half of the season, but as Paulie says, no one's tuning in to watch Ranger Suarez. But they will tune in to see Paul Skeens face Aaron Judge and Juan Soto.
Yes.
Gunnar Henderson in the first inning. So that's should have been a no-brainer, and finally Major League Baseball actually didn't kick the bid on this one and put the right guy in to start the All-Star game. It's actually going to create some buzz and draw some eyeballs to the game tomorrow night.
I mean, we're baseball fans. We're going to be watching anyway, but there's going to be a lot of eyes on this that probably normally wouldn't be because of him, because of who his girlfriend is, because, he's a social media sensation because of her. And look, at the end of the day, it's great for the game. It's not like he's undeserving. He wasn't up for the first 6 weeks. Yeah, he didn't have a choice. The Pirates didn't call him up because they wanted to manipulate his service time. They did that. And so now he's your All-Star game starter, and he is electric to watch.
And did you see who has all of a sudden rounded into form? Old friend Blake Snell took a perfect game into the 7th inning yesterday. Was broken up by another former Padre, Manuel Margot.
Well, it is mid-July, so yeah,
yep.
Makes sense.
Giants beat the Twins 3-2, so they take 2 out of 3. They remain, firmly a couple games under 500, but certainly in the wild card race. Now, you missed it on Friday, but Max Searle from Dave, our friend, our Tier 1, he called in and he had a trade proposal. And if you missed it, why don't I'm going to hold that.
I missed it.
I'm going to give what Max proposed, and I was like, all right, it's not the It's not the worst idea I ever heard.
It is trade proposal season.
So we can do that in our final segment. Coming up with Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. I got a little summer fun throwback coming up before the end of the show.
Oh,
Paulie's
yes.
pulling from the archives the lighthearted side of Ben and Woods, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just leave it at that.
As opposed to the serious side.
It's something that was a little risque. I don't think it's necessarily needs a listener warning. Does it, Paulie? Is this something that would like young ears?
So.
I don't think so. I think it's fine. But
It's summer, so.
it's
Why are you letting your kids listen to Ben and Woods in the summer?
or any
Kids should be at camp.
No, there's a lot of kids who listen to this program.
That's true. It always weirds me out.
Baseball fans.
Oh, my
they're out
son
there.
loves you. He's 6. I'm like, oh, great.
He loves Don't Do This. and
Fantastic.
All the bad behavior of athletes in the world.
Love it.
All right, so here was the trade. Let me see if I can remember exactly what he proposed. But Max Searle, producer of Dave, showrunner.
Yep, showrunner.
He suggested, and I don't know if this changes after the outing yesterday, but he said, they're talking about the possibility of trading Ha-Sung Kim because he's going to be a free agent, and the teams that actually could use a shortstop. And his suggestion was basically a deal that involved Ha-Sung Kim going and Blake Snell.
He said throw in, like a vet, like Solano.
Yeah, you could save some salary or something.
Peralta.
And bring Blake Snell back because the Giants have not had success with him and don't want to be on the hook for his option coming up at the end of the year.
Which he will most certainly opt into.
He will probably opt into unless he has an unbelievable... Maybe he'll win the Cy Young again.
Yeah, in the
when
second
he doesn't
half.
give up another run in the second half of the season here.
I doubt it.
But... get him back somewhere where he's very comfortable with Ruben Niebla. You need pitching badly right now. And he's a guy who, if he is on, and it looks like he's starting to click, could be the guy who carries your rotation the rest of the year. You slide Xander back to shortstop, go with the infielders that you've got already, and make that move, and probably stay under the luxury tax because the Giants have already paid for half of the salary. You may have some extra money from Yu Darvish on the restricted list, and if you shed some salary on a veteran player or get the Giants to pay for a little bit of it this year, you could even stay under the luxury tax and do all of that at the same time.
My God.
My first instinct was this is too crazy. This has to be a no. But the more I thought about it, doesn't seem like it's totally out of the realm of possibility.
I mean, the Giants are also making a run, and they also need pitching. They need more pitching than...
Had they lost like 2 or 3 this weekend, it might have been a different story. It might still be. If they go on a bad streak coming out of the break, it might still be a possibility.
Yeah, Nails makes the point. I mean, just sign him at the end of sign Ha-Sung Kim in the offseason. Which they very well could.
But then they're on the hook for Blake Snell for next year.
But if Blake Snell's now comfortable, then you've got Blake Snell.
That's a good point,
so
too.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to be... listen, I'll be in Hawaii for the trade deadline, as you guys learned. I just don't know how blockbustery it's going to be around here with the money that, we don't have to spend and the prospects we don't have to trade.
I don't think it's going to happen, but... you can certainly see the appeal. If you were in a playoff run or got to a postseason series, and you had Blake Snell and Dylan Cease on back-to-back days, both on, good luck to any other team that had to face those two guys consecutively in a series. You have the chance, at least, to have one of those runs.
I think the Giants probably say no to that. They're going to want... you'd be free of a prorated salary and an option for next year, but I don't think that would be enough in their eyes.
It was pretty wild.
It's pretty wild.
It was a pretty
That's
wild
my man,
idea.
Max. He's a wild dude. The guy helped create Dave. Have you ever seen Dave?
Yeah, that's true.
It's very wild. It's a very wild show. Very wild.
All right, the home run derby is tonight. We're going to make our picks because we did this last year.
Yeah, Paulie won last year.
Paulie won last year.
What are we doing? What did we do, $20 a piece?
So we will make our home run
Colonel
derby
budget?
picks right after, $20. Right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a few problems wrapping up our morning drive. Eastbound 54 before Briarwood. There is a collision involving a vehicle that hit a tree over to the right shoulder. Looks like somebody had a blowout northbound 15 before the 805. It's in the center divide, but watch out for some tire debris in the fast lane. I got this crash clearing stage on northbound 5 just past La Jolla Village Drive. Several vehicles involved in this one. Does not appear to be blocking lanes over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Paulie also asked a question that we can get to, and that is if you could only attend either 1, the home run derby, or 2, the All-Star game, which would you pick? And Paulie is very much in favor of tonight. You'd rather go to the home run derby.
Not even. I wouldn't even think twice. I wouldn't have to like. Oh well.
It's probably the right answer.
Is
Derby.
it?
The game. I think the All-Star games.
I like
incredibly
the atmosphere
boring.
of the home run derby is very cool.
It's great.
But it's the same thing happening over and over and over and over
You've seen
again.
one, you've seen them all?
You kind of, at the game, you get anything could happen. It's unpredictable. I know exactly how the home run derby is going to end. Someone's going to hit more home runs than the other guy. There's going to be a lot of long ones, oohs and ahs.
Yeah, but
it's going to be cool.
It's a display
but
like
it's
you've never seen.
It's completely predictable, and it won't go down in history
It's
because
not,
only
though.
the game goes
It's
down.
not predictable. Gunnar just could hit 20 straight bombs, and you're like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Like you don't necessarily. Yes,
But even if he does, he's still doing it in batting practice off a pitcher who's laying him in exactly where he wants to. Don't you want to see the guys actually competing against the best against the best?
I legit now, like, if this year, it's a no-brainer for me. I'd take the game because of the field of the home run derby this year is a little bit subpar.
Sure.
And then in the game, like we just talked about, Paul Skeens taking the ball is pretty.
I
that's
think one
pretty
of the
electric.
problems of the game is that it ends up being decided in the end by a lot of the reserves who all come in, and then if it's a really good game, but then all the starters are out
They're
at
out.
this point, and now it's a bunch of guys that you don't know that much about at the end anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, I certainly understand the appeal of the home run derby tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, the field is
the game. I've
is
just kind of
okay.
soured on the game over the years.
It
like,
can get a little boring.
bro, after like the fourth inning,
Fourth
I'm
or fifth
like,
inning, you're like, whew, all right.
Like, I wish they'd go back to we're watching old highlights right now on MLB Network. Everybody when they wore their team uniforms and just
So
had the All-Star
sick.
patch, so much better.
So much better.
I don't know. And that was when the All-Star game meant something, which I do agree. I think that was stupid that you determined home field advantage in the World Series.
I liked it.
An exhibition game.
I liked it at the time
Where
because it was
maybe
different.
you had your team only had you didn't know if your guys were even going to get in and make a difference or not.
I went when it was here. I went to both. I went to the Derby, watched Giancarlo just murder baseballs. That was pretty cool. I don't really remember much about the game. I really don't. I don't remember much about the game at all.
This year's Derby could probably use an infusion of like a healthy Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, obviously, he's not going to be there. Heck, I didn't think he was going to get invited, but I wouldn't have minded seeing Jurickson Profar taking a few swings in Texas in the home run derby.
I'm glad he's not.
For
Just
that.
relax.
Do some from both
rest.
sides of the plate,
just
switch it
relax,
around. I mean, that would have been a
rest.
good story.
Just rest.
It would have been a good story.
Rest.
That's what
Rest.
Luis Ariz is doing.
Which
All
I
right,
love.
so everyone, you get your pick. 8 guys. New format this year. Top 4 advance out of the 8 in the first round. 40 pitches maximum in your time limit. And then head-to-head in the semifinals and finals. Who is everyone taking tonight?
I took Gunnar.
Gunnar Henderson. You already said you wagered a little money on Gunnar.
Yes.
All right. Paulie?
I will take Adolis Garcia.
Hometown Texas
boy.
Rangers.
I know the
Beast.
hometown guys are usually a tough pick.
Over
he seems
too
different.
much pressure sometimes. on
Okay.
the hometown
He seems like a
guys.
guy that would thrive.
You're thinking about Will Myers.
Yeah. That's
Different
not the only
players,
one. That's not the
right.
only one. There's been others who have also
Brett Boone.
struggled in
Brett
homes.
Boone.
Yeah, Brett Boone, 0. I will just go with chalk and go. No one does this consistently better than Pete Alonso. I don't know if he's going
We
to
should have
win,
said
but
you can't take Pete Alonso.
why can't you take Pete Alonso?
I
If
think
we're
we
going to put
should.
money on it.
Pete Alonso,
take
well,
Pete
he's the
Alonso.
highest odds. So
Do I win less?
we should
if
be
he
win
wins?
$10
Yeah.
each.
Yeah, you win less money. You get $10.
I mean, I don't know if he's going to win, but I feel confident he's going to deliver a decent performance. And it'll come out to see if anyone just is spectacular or not. But he's going to put up his homers. He's going to put up his numbers.
We should have
He
just
knows,
done a draw.
He knows how to home run derby.
He knows. Yes, he does. Oh, I can't wait for him back deadlifting. Like deadlifting between. It's going to be amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, I did
comedy.
pick last. Either of you could have chosen Pete Alonso.
That's true, but we didn't want to be lame, so we picked different ones. Yeah.
I would have picked Alec Boehm
Yeah,
before I picked
take Alec
Pete Alonso.
Boehm.
I don't want to pick Alec Boehm.
All right. So
Bobby
what happens?
Witt Jr.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. Great pick. What happens if any of the other 3 guys?
5 guys win.
5 guys.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nobody wins anything.
All right.
Right.
We donate $20 to
No,
charity.
we don't donate $20 to charity if one of the 5
like,
guys
what, you
wins.
insane?
He hates charity so much. So much. Helping people, saving people's lives.
Why is everyone so mad that I picked Pete Alonso?
It's an easy pick. We should have done a blind draw. Well, we'll do it next year. All right, Gunnar, Pete, and Garcia.
Garcia.
All right.
Adolis. All right, Paulie, what summer fun have you pulled for us from the archives today?
So we did this summer break last year. It's not like a throwback Thursday, where, hey, this week in 2019
Right.
or anything like that.
So look
at the
back.
End
It's a
of
summer
the year,
reflection.
We do our top 10 moments of the show throughout the entire year. So at the All-Star break, during summer break, we kind of did like the first half look backs of moments on our show.
Sure. Mid-season All-Stars.
Yeah.
Ben and Woods All-Star moments
And
from the
since-
first half of 2024.
Since you've been very weird today
Very
with some of the
randy.
drops
Weird.
we've added to the Ben Drops folder.
All girls, all the time. 1, 2, swallow.
Wow. God.
I mean, that's just a couple. We are going back to January 10th, and we were talking about an ad that ran on the Odyssey app.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, I think somebody like screen recorded them listening to 97.3.
Wasn't over
on
the
app.
air.
No, this was not
but
over
if
the
you
air.
were listening on the app.
And they go, hey, what kind of station are you running over there, Adam? And so it's going to start with the clip and then a little breaking Ben.
Play it again.
Want a little more pleasure in your life? Make 2024 your year to experience more pleasure than you thought possible. Lovers has the best adult toys, lingerie, and accessories to explore alone or together. Let our associates guide you on your pleasure journey and save 20% on your purchase with Lovers Afterglow rewards. Just mention Lovers 20 at one of our 12 Southern California locations. Offer valid for free Lovers Afterglow rewards membership until January 31st. Some exclusions apply.
Membership.
Time is running out, guys. It's January 31st to get on your pleasure.
12 locations. You can't be that far, right? From one of them somewhere. I don't think I've run across any of them.
I definitely haven't either.
I actually think I went to one last month.
Oh, to get the
Because
edible underwear, right?
I believe it was a Lover's off the 78 in San Marcos. I had to find the edible crotchless gummy underwear.
And how was that experience for you? Walking in.
This will shock you. I was the only one there.
Okay.
Was it jarring?
It was really weird.
There have been a lot of...
It was like a superstore for those items.
Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah, the Bass... more like Ass Pro Shops, to be honest with you.
Toast. I can't tell.
I broke him and I broke myself. The guys in the aquarium when you walk Hey, welcome to Ass Pro Shops. Just standing there, wienerless in an aquarium.
Forgot about that story. I can't tell if this is the worst radio show or
Or
the
the
best
best.
radio show we've ever done.
I'm with you, man.
Oh,
I'm
I
with you
know what
100%.
Darko would say.
I still, there's still a little voice in my head like, just play the Michael King audio before people lose their minds. But it's so good. Oh, Ben, that was fantastic.
Some that's the exact same one that broke Ben
Yep.
earlier.
Yes.
Article Sound System was
Oh,
the
you
band.
mean ass. How pleasurable has everyone's 2024 been? Has everyone been on a nice, pleasure-filled journey as she promised? As she promised we would.
I do still have my Ass Pro Shops hats out in the car in
Our
case
boy
I ever
Jordan,
need to.
our boy that plays on the Tier 1, our boy Jordan made that for you, and it is legendary.
So good.
Holy cow! What does she say? Play the
I haven't had a lot of
again.
occasions to break it out.
Right.
And wear it in
Want a
public.
little more pleasure in your life?
Yes.
Make 2024 your year to experience more pleasure than you thought possible.
Okay.
Lovers has the best adult toys, lingerie, and accessories to explore alone or together. Let our
Cool.
associates guide you on your pleasure journey and save 20% on your purchase with
Are your
Lovers Afterglow.
associates? Hi, was looking for somebody to help me
I'm
with
on
my
a pleasure
I'm on
journey.
a pleasure journey right now.
I would like your assistance in
no problem. Welcome
guiding
in.
my pleasure journey.
What is your
Come
name?
to the right place.
What is your name, sir?
I'm Ben.
You're Ben. Nice to meet you. Were you looking for alone or to get? This is Journey. You're going to go solo. You're going to go by yourself. Oh my Lord! I had forgotten about that entirely.
Well, play the beginning again, because I would love it if the Padres adopted this mentality for their fans.
Want a little more pleasure in your life? Make 2024 your year to experience more pleasure than you thought possible.
I would like the
Lovers
Padres
has
to make 2024 the year that we, the fans, experience more pleasure than we thought possible.
100%.
Because right now, I've gotten a little bit of pleasure, but not more pleasure than I thought was possible from this baseball season. 50 and 49.
I didn't know how much pleasure I was expecting this year. We all kind of knew they would be.
Yeah.
We thought, but the glimpses that, wow, this is more pleasure than I've ever experienced, with some walk-offs, some late-night heroics, by the guys. And I would like more pleasure.
Elisa says, like a pleasure Sherpa.
That's
guiding
right.
your
Yeah.
pleasure journey.
Come on in. Let me help you.
All right, that's it for us today. We'll continue with the summer break fun tomorrow at 6 a.m. Until then, thank you to Paul Reindl, our executive producer and imaging director. For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Annie and Elston up next right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.